The foster brother I have a crush on is a top student bound for Tsinghua or Peking University, yet, when the school beauty asked him to skip the college entrance exam and go to a concert with her, I didn't stop him, because I was reborn. In my past life, I was worried he would miss the exam, so, after seeing the school belle slip a concert ticket, scheduled for the same day as the college entrance exams, into his drawer, I secretly took it. Later, my foster brother became the top scorer in the province, but the school belle died in a car accident on her way to the concert. Because of this, my foster brother came to utterly despise me. He blamed me for acting on my own, for separating him from his beloved by the chasm of life and death. Later, after achieving academic success, he used every means to seize my family's fortune, drove my parents to jump to their deaths, and tormented me until I died. So in this life, I will grant him his wish. I did not take the ticket, I simply had the family cut him off, revoke the adoption and all financial support. He doesn't deserve it anymore. 1. The moment I pulled the notebook from my foster brother Ming's son's drawer, his hand clamped down hard on my wrist, his eyes were dark and menacing. Xing Mingchu, didn't I tell you not to touch my things? He snatched the notebook back and gave it a sharp shake. The notebook's sharp metal edge sliced into my palm, drawing thin lines of blood. Yet he paid it no mind at all. Standing beside him, the campus belle, Yuan, stamped her foot. I really did slip the concert ticket into your notebook. It was a ticket I went through a lot of trouble to get. Prompted by her words, Ming's son took a step closer to me, his tone dripping with impatience. Tickets, show me your tickets. I looked up, meeting his gaze directly. Those eyes, cold and malicious like a treacherous wolf, began to merge with the memory from my past life. 2. Ming's son was an infant who had been abandoned and left in the mountains. By chance, my father found him and brought him home. After he came to the Ming family, my mother, who had been diagnosed as infertile by doctors, suddenly became pregnant and later gave birth to me. So, after discussing it, my parents decided to adopt Ming's son as their foster son. Ever since then, Ming's son and I grew up together. Childhood sweethearts from the very start. In my past life, the moment I stepped into the classroom, I caught Yuan in the act, bent over, stuffing concert tickets for a show that clashed with the college entrance exams into Ming's son's desk drawer. When she saw me, she shot me a cold, warning glance. Don't you dare make a scene, or you'll regret it. Worried that Ming's son might actually give up on the college entrance exam because of this, I secretly took the ticket when no one was around. I didn't return the ticket to him until after the exams were over. Later, when the scores came out and a reporter visited, I was praised. Thanks to your act of kindness, our city produced the top scorer in the province. As for that classmate who went missing and is presumed dead after a car accident on her way to the concert alone, well, I guess that was just her fate. That remark made Ming's son, the top scorer in the province, stare at me for a long time. Later, he was successfully admitted to Tsinghua University. After graduation, he suddenly announced his intention to sever the adoptive relationship with our parents and launched an intense pursuit of me. I secretly rejoiced inside and finally said yes after his persistent pursuit. I thought we were truly in love with each other. It wasn't until our second wedding anniversary that I found an intimate photo of him and Yuan in his safe. On the back of the photo, it was covered with his longing thoughts for her. In the cluttered corner, my lost diary, filled with pages of my secret crush on him, lay torn to shreds. I went to the company to confront him, only to be told that the Ming Corporation was now under Ming's son's control. Security guards held me back at the entrance, forcing me to watch helplessly as he drove my parents to jump to their deaths. I thought about calling the police. Ming's son broke my limbs and locked me away. Later, he even brought over a dozen men to violate me. The pain was excruciating, tearing me apart from the inside. Yet his eyes were bloodshot, and he laughed with savage delight. Does it hurt? Yuan's pain is far greater than yours. If you hadn't taken that ticket on your own back then, Yuan and I wouldn't be separated by life and death. She wouldn't have left me here alone, suffering through this miserable existence. It was only then I realized that throughout all those days and nights we spent together, Ming's son had never loved me. On the contrary, he despised me for meddling in his affairs. Day after day, I was exposed and utterly wretched, yet, he remained expressionless and unmoved. That was until he heard that Yuan hadn't died, but was taken abroad after the car accident. Overjoyed, he stood up and left. In that moment, I fought back with all my might, driving the iron rod I had sharpened like a spike deep into his heart. In my final moments, I saw the full force of my own hatred reflected in Ming's son's stunned eyes. But when I opened my eyes again, I found I had been reborn. 3. Right now, Huan Yuanyuan is adamant that I was the one who took the tickets. She gave me a quick once-over. Seeing there was nowhere on my person to hide anything, her gaze then shifted to the backpack under my chair. She must have hidden them in her bag, and Ming-sun believed every word she said. His brow furrowed, and he immediately grabbed my backpack and started rummaging through it, as if convinced I had really stolen the tickets, but after turning everything inside out, he found nothing. After a long moment, he stood up, his expression stern. Xing Mingchu, you're the only one who's touched my desk. I snorted coldly and reached out, shoving his desk over. Books scattered across the floor. A conspicuously bright concert ticket slid out from his drawer and fell to the ground. All eyes were fixed on the ticket. I spoke through gritted teeth, enunciating every single word. Ming-sun, I must have been blind before. I don't want your ticket. I wouldn't take it if you begged me. Ming-sun's eyes flickered. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. He simply bent down and picked up the ticket, but a sharp-eyed classmate spotted it, staring at the ticket with a pointed tone. The school beauty gave Ming-sun a concert ticket, but the date is the day after the college entrance exam, and it's in City B. Ming-sun clutched the ticket. The classmates around her began whispering to each other. Who buys concert tickets that clash with the Gaokao? It's the most important exam of our lives. Even if you went, you'd have to leave a day early and couldn't get back in time. How are you supposed to take the exam then? Huan Yuanyuan's expression froze. She glanced around, then suddenly raised her voice. The college entrance exam happens every year, but Zhou Huachu's farewell concert is a once-in-a-lifetime event. She darted right up to Ming-sun, her eyes rimmed red, yet she spoke with unwavering resolve. Besides, a god like Ming-sun isn't like you ordinary people, for whom the Gaokao is the only way out. His family could snap their fingers and get him into any top-tier university they wanted. The moment her words landed, one of Huan Yuanyuan's lackeys immediately jumped in to back her up. Exactly, the only real divide between people is the amniotic fluid they're born from. Don't forget, Ming-sun bears the Ming name. He's heaven's chosen one. He's destined to inherit the Ming Group empire, while ordinary folks could grind their whole lives and still end up as nothing more than small-town exam crammers. The lackey said it pointedly, a clear jab aimed at me. I was stunned. Catching the look of awestruck envy everyone was directing at Ming-sun. Ming-sun, for his part, acted as if it were only natural. It suddenly clicked. Apart from the immediate family, who knew Ming-sun was adopted, to everyone else, he was considered their biological son. I took my mother's surname. My parents rarely mentioned me in public. At school, I never revealed my family background. I gave a light chuckle. Who knows if he's just an ordinary man or a child of destiny? He's nothing but a lapdog of the Ming family. Ming-sun looked at me, his expression darkening. 4. I was just about to expose Ming-sun's status as an adopted son, but Huan Yuanyuan cut me off. She darted in front of Ming-sun, looking me up and down with a roll of her eyes. I don't know what you're so cocky about. If it weren't for Ming-sun's kindness, do you really think you'd be allowed in this elite high school? Oh, I get it now. You're scared that once high school ends and everyone goes their separate ways, Ming-sun won't look after you anymore. That's why you're desperately trying to make yourself seen here. She stood with her hands on her hips, her chin held high with arrogance, but there's no helping it. You and Ming-sun are simply from different worlds. If you ask me, you shouldn't even bother with the college entrance exam. Go out and get a job early while you're still young. At least you can earn some money in your prime. Otherwise, when you're older, you won't even be able to sell trinkets on the street. You'll end up just like your parents, working as a maid in Ming-sun's house. Who told you my parents work as maids in the Ming household? Isn't it true? You follow Ming-sun around every day, and your parents never show up to parent-teacher conferences. You're just afraid of being embarrassed, aren't you? Ming-sun frowned and pulled Huan Yuanyuan aside. Enough. I've never believed people should be ranked into classes of high and low. Money isn't everything. Ming-sun shot me a cold look. As if accusing me of making a scene, a memory from my past life flashed through my mind. Ming-sun had said the exact same thing. Back then, he had his hands around my throat, speaking through gritted teeth. Money isn't everything. If I could do it all over, I'd rather skip the college entrance exam, leave the Ming family behind. Even if Yuanyuan and I ended up selling goods on the street, I'd be happy. Do you have any idea how much I regret losing her? He didn't let go of me until I was nearly suffocating. The moment I was gasping for air, he clenched his fist and slammed it into the wall right beside me. His face was a mask of utter agony. At that thought, I suddenly froze and looked at Ming-sun, yet his gaze remained fixed on Huan Yuanyuan, a gentle light shimmering in his eyes. At that moment, Huan Yuanyuan was clinging to Ming-sun, lightly biting her lip. Ming-sun, I really want to go to the concert. It just so happens that it's on my 18th birthday. I've had this dream since I was little. To confess to someone I like at Joe Huachu's concert. Would you go with me? The moment he said it, the crowd erupted in an uproar, everyone jeering and egging him on. Ming's son, however, was taken aback for a moment. His voice was calm and detached. All right, yet her voice held a faint tremor, and the corners of her lips lifted in an almost imperceptible curve. Wan Yuanyuan clung to Ming's son's arm, her expression brimming with excitement. I let out a cold, derisive laugh. Suddenly, I no longer felt like exposing Ming's son's true identity. I want to see what happens after he leaves the Ming family, without my interference. Will this lifetime's Ming son live up to what he claimed in his past life? Even if it means setting up a street stall with Wan Yuanyuan, he'd be content. I picked up my bag and moved my desk from beside Ming's son's to the very back of the classroom. I casually picked up the notebook from Mingxuan's desk. The contents of this notebook were all bought at a high price from previous provincial top scorers. It covers all the key knowledge points and specific example questions for every subject on the college entrance exam. I meticulously compiled all of it into this single notebook. In my past life, I was blind to have given it to Ming's son, but in this life, he is no longer worthy of it. 5. There are only 3 days left until the college entrance exam. I sat in the classroom and began to write down the content of this year's college entrance exam questions from memory. In my past life, just before I died, Ming's son locked me in the basement. He once brought me nearly a decade's worth of past exam papers and threw them at me. You like doing these exam questions, don't you? Is this enough for you, right now? My task is to recall as much of this year's college entrance exam questions as possible, and then systematically tackle them one by one, using the knowledge points in my notebook. I didn't leave campus until after school was long over, when the grounds were practically deserted, but when I reached the school gate, I found the area outside completely empty. Frowning, I pulled out my phone and called driver Zhang. I must have called over a dozen times, but every single call was instantly rejected. Just as my patience was wearing thin, the call finally went through, but before I could even speak, Ming's son's cold, stern voice came through the line. Something came up. I had Uncle Zhang bring me back early, just take a cab home. With that, the call was abruptly ended. By the time I tried to call back, my phone had died. Mingda Academy is an elite private school, perched on the mountainside. Very few vehicles ever pass by. I suppressed my anger and walked for half an hour before finally hailing a cab. By the time I got home, Uncle Zhang was waiting at the door to apologize. I just waved it off and went into the living room. I was just about to head upstairs. Then, I heard Wan Yuanyuan in the first-floor bathroom, her voice seething with suppressed anger as if she were in the middle of an argument. Yes, I did take the life-saving money you left for my brother and used it to buy a ticket. That ticket cost 10,000 yuan. If you tear it up, the money's gone for good. Mom, you need to take the ticket to the place I told you and wait for me right now. Once I've hooked that golden goose, Ming's son, I'll give you not just 100,000, but 1,000,000. I let out a cold, scornful laugh. I turned and went upstairs to my room. By the time I came out again, my parents had already returned. Ming's son, however, was long gone. I threw myself into my parents' arms, crying until my eyes were red and swollen, and told them about my past life's ordeal as if it were a prophetic dream. Father fell silent for a long while, then let out a heavy sigh. If things truly turn out as you dreamed, and our Ming family ends up dead or ruined because of that boy Ming's son, then we truly cannot keep him in the family. Mother held me close in her arms, filled with righteous indignation. If anyone dares to bully my sweet daughter, I'll fight them to the death. Dad gently patted Mom's shoulder. As it happens, Ming's son just turned 18 the other day. I'll have someone terminate the adoption right now. Seeing that a consensus had been reached, from now on, Ming's son is no longer connected to the Ming family. I peeked out from my mother's embrace. Mom, I also need someone with top grades to help me cram all the key knowledge points before the college entrance exam. I want to get a good score, get into a good university, and then it'll be up to me to develop and strengthen the Ming family. Seeing my determination, my mother said with relief, all right, sweetie, I promise I'll find you a handsome guy with top grades. Me. 6. I stayed up until 5 a.m., marking down the key concepts from the college entrance exam questions I could recall. After just 2 hours of sleep, I dragged myself out of bed, but as soon as I stepped into the living room, I saw a young man sitting upright with perfect posture. When I saw that impossibly handsome face, my first thought was, Mom really did find me a looker. Noticing my distraction, a flicker of a smile crossed the man's face. Ming Chu, Jr., Don't you recognize me? Gu Yanchen, last year's top scorer in the National College Entrance Exam, the long-lost grandson of billionaire Gu Gaoyuan. It wasn't until last year, after a video of his provincial top scorer interview went viral, that the Gu family finally tracked him down. For the first 18 years of his life, he excelled academically, supported all along by the Ming family. He had sent several thank you letters home over the years, all of which I replied to on my parents' behalf. Before long, the two of them became pen pals. To this day, his photo still hangs on the school's wall of distinguished alumni, yet now, my mom somehow managed to call him in to tutor me. I snapped back to reality and blurted out without thinking, how could I not, with a face like yours? Anyone who sees it would be captivated. Seeing him freeze, I realized what a misleading thing I had just said. I fidgeted with the hem of my clothes, offering an awkward smile. What I meant was, anyone would want features like that. He gave a light chuckle and spoke up at just the right moment. I see. So, where are the study materials? Seeing him change the subject, I quickly ushered him into the room. At first, I felt a bit awkward, but as I listened to his gentle, patient explanation of the concepts, I immediately immersed myself in the ocean of knowledge. For 3 days straight, I holed up in my room and studied diligently. Even during the 3 days of the Gaokao, I used any spare time after one exam to prepare for the next. For the Gaokao, I gave it my absolute best effort. I didn't allow myself to truly relax until the exams were over. 7. I was lying in my soft bed, scrolling through my phone. That's when I saw that Yuan Yuan had posted 2 moments in a row over the last couple of days. 1 day ago, out with someone special. Can't wait for the concert. Photo. The two are holding hands. She's leaning gently against Ming's son's chest, and his face is not shown. This one was posted around noon today. At 18, I confessed my feelings in front of a crowd and succeeded. Little did I know, back at the hotel, I was put through the ringer. He said he'd be gentler next time. Image. A hotel bed with the sheets in disarray. This time, Ming's son's face was fully visible. I looked at that sleeping face and felt a wave of nausea. I was disgusted with myself for having shared a bed with someone like that for 2 whole years. I turned off my social media feed. I put my phone down and enjoyed a blissfully carefree stretch of time at home. That is, until the day the National College Entrance Exam results were released. The homeroom teacher asked everyone in the class group chat to report their grades to him as soon as they came out. Yuan Yuan jumped in and at all members, who's free to get together. Ming's son says he wants to treat everyone to a meal at a 5-star hotel and hear everyone's good news. She posted the invitation in the group. All my classmates were eager to go and quickly agreed. I, however, didn't respond and didn't give it a second thought. I simply took a nap at home, packed my things, and had the driver take me to the hotel where my parents said they were holding a celebration for me. Little did I know, just as I arrived at the hotel entrance, the students from the class were making a noisy commotion, blocking the main hall. Yuan Yuan stood at the front of the crowd, her arm linked with Ming's son's. Ming's son's face was dark and stormy. Meanwhile, Yuan Yuan, her face flushed, was shouting at the manager, "Take a good look, this is a gold card, our meal was a mere 150,000. There's no way it can't cover that, your machine must be broken." 8. Yet even so, the manager maintained a professional smile. "Do you perhaps have another card? Maybe try a different one." Ming's son's face turned completely cold. He pulled out several bank cards, but each one showed a payment failure. The situation was clearly deadlocked. A bespectacled boy suggested in a low voice, "Maybe we could all chip in and split the bill." It was instantly met with opposition. The students erupted into a noisy commotion, drawing sidelong glances from passers-by. Yuan Yuan shot a fierce glare at the rowdy students and raised her voice several notches. "Enough. Ming's son is the son of the Ming Group's CEO. How could he possibly be after your measly lunch money?" She lifted her chin and looked at Ming's son. The class monitor behind her perked up and darted forward. "Wait, isn't this a hotel under the Ming Group? Since Ming's son is the young master of the Ming family, he probably doesn't have to pay for the meal, right?" He noticed the expectant gazes of everyone. Ming's son straightened his posture, even adjusting his collar. He adopted a somewhat haughty demeanor toward the manager. "That's right, I'm Ming's son, the chairman's son. I intended to keep business and personal matters separate and pay for this myself. But since there's an issue with the machine, just put this meal on my father's account." With that, Ming's son finished speaking. The manager's expression instantly turned odd. A professional smile remained on his face, yet it carried a distinct chill. "With all due respect, to my knowledge, President Ming only has one daughter." He paused, and as it happens, I'm acquainted with Mr. Ming's daughter. The casual expression on Ming's son's face darkened. He pulled out his phone to make a call, but was met only with the sound of a busy signal. I let out a soft chuckle. My parents had already blocked Ming's son's number, but the sharp-eyed Yuan spotted me, and it was like she'd found a punching bag. Xing Mingchu, what are you doing here? 9. As she spoke, all eyes turned toward me. Seeing this, Yuan lifted her chin even higher with a haughty air. I see, you came hoping for a free meal, didn't you? Too bad. We've already finished. She looked me up and down. Take a look at yourself, wearing those no-name, bargain bin rags. A 5-star hotel like this is no place for someone like you. She feigned surprise. Don't tell me, you're here to apply for a dishwashing job. With that, she covered her mouth and laughed to herself. I was taken aback and looked down at my simple white shirt and jeans. It really does clash with this luxurious setting. But my parents had this outfit custom made for me by a designer because I'm allergic to most fabrics. And I just threw this outfit together right before heading out. Following Yuan's remark, Manager Chen's gaze shifted toward me. His gaze visibly faltered the moment he saw me. He strode quickly to stand before me and offered a respectful bow. Young mistress, you've arrived. President Ming and Madam are already waiting for you in the private room upstairs. As soon as the words were spoken, time itself seemed to freeze. Everyone's expressions froze on their faces. Yuan's jaw dropped so wide you could fit an egg in it, her voice a strained hiss. What did you call her? Miss, I approached with a smile. Manager Chen, long time no see. At my response, Yuan's face twisted as if she'd just swallowed a fly. Impossible, she doesn't even share the Ming surname. How could she be the Ming family's young mistress? Besides, Ming's son even took me to the Ming family estate. She was still itching for a fight, but Ming's son cut me off. Ming's son reached out to stop me, his voice cold and stern. Your parents are here too. Perfect. I'll go with you to see them. I stopped in my tracks. He smiled with a knowing look. Ming's son, you're not trying to skip out on the bill and mooch off me, are you? 10. I chuckled softly and withdrew my hand. Why don't you settle the bill for this meal first, young Master Ming? My gaze shifted to Manager Chen. Seeing this, he raised his hand to summon the security guard nearby. He then walked up to Ming's son and the others, presenting the bill with a polite yet firm smile. Who will be paying? We accept both cash and card. The other students either hunched their shoulders, glancing furtively at Ming's son, or pretended to look at their phones while inching toward the door. Ming's son looked at me in surprise, seeing that I was unmoved and simply enjoying the show. His expression visibly darkened. After a long pause, he took the bill, turned, and looked down at Yuan. His voice soft. Yuan, use the 150,000 I gave you for your birthday the other day to pay for this first. But, Yuan clutched her bag tightly, her heart aching. That money was for the new Hermes bag I wanted. A flicker of impatience flashed in Ming's son's eyes. He put his arms around Yuan's shoulders to placate her. I'll pay you back double, I promise. Hermes, Chanel, whatever you want, I'll buy it for you. Just give me the money first. He reached over, snatched Yuan's bag, and forcefully pulled out the bank card. Yuan was reluctant, but she could only nod in agreement. After settling the bill, Ming's son walked up to me. Now we can go see Mom and Dad, right? I let out a cold, mocking laugh. When did I ever say I was taking you to meet my parents? He demanded sharply. Mingchu, what do you mean by that? They're my parents too. I let out a derisive snort, looking him up and down. Ming's son, have you been having so much fun these past few days that you haven't even had a moment to check your email? I slowly unlocked my phone and turned the screen to face him. The termination of adoption papers from my father were sent to your inbox ages ago. Did you even bother to look? 11. Upon hearing this, both Ming's son and Yuan's faces instantly changed. Impossible. On what grounds would Mom and Dad sever the adoption? No way. How could Ming's son be an adopted son? Their voices rang out in unison. I snatched my phone back. When you gave up the college entrance exam to go to a concert with Yuan, you should have known you'd be abandoned too. Ming's son staggered, murmuring under his breath, how could Mom and Dad possibly? But before the words had even finished leaving their mouth, the elevator at the side of the lobby suddenly opened. Mom and Dad stepped out. Nothing is impossible. My mother approached and affectionately put her arm around my shoulders. Since Mingchu and Mingxuan's classmates are all here, I'll make this clear now. Mingchu is our only child and will be the sole heir to the Ming group. She looked at Ming's son. Ming's son was once our adopted child, but that relationship has now been legally dissolved. From now on, he has no connection to the Ming family. With that, my parents, ignoring Ming's son's pale face, put their arms around me and walked toward the elevator. Ming Sun and Wan Yuanyuan, having snapped out of their shock, tried to rush forward, but they were promptly intercepted and escorted away by security. Wan Yuanyuan struggled, looking back over her shoulder with a piercing scream. If you abandon Ming Sun, you'll live to regret it. What does that fool Xing Mingchu know about business? My parents, who were guiding me along, suddenly halted. I turned around, my face cold. I saw Ming Sun standing there, his gaze fixed on me with a sinister intensity, silently endorsing Wan Yuanyuan's outburst. Seeing her parents halt in their tracks, Wan Yuanyuan doubled down on her words. Ming Sun is your son, he's the one who can make the Ming group thrive. If you don't acknowledge him, you can just wait for bankruptcy. Her parents' expressions turned even frostier. He waved a hand, ready to shoo them out. Just then, two groups of people rushed hurriedly into the hotel lobby. Which one of you is Xing Mingchu? I'm an admissions officer from Tsinghua University. You absolutely must apply to our school. I'm an admissions officer from Peking University. Our school is the better choice. 12. The entire hall fell into a dead silence. The next moment, my parents, overjoyed, pulled me forward. My precious daughter is Xing Mingchu. Teacher, you said she could get into Tsinghua or Peking University, right? Yes, your daughter's academic performance is outstanding. Before the admissions officer could finish speaking, Wan Yuanyuan cut him off loudly. Impossible. Her hand, with its sharp, painted nails, grabbed the admissions officer's arm, her voice shrill and piercing. Teacher, don't be fooled by her. Xing Mingchu fails all her exams. She only scored 18 points on the last math mock test. How could she possibly get into Tsinghua University? Her eyes were wide with disbelief, and her gaze darted toward Ming Sun. Without waiting for the teacher to speak, she shoved Ming Sun right in front of him. Ming Sun is the real genius. He always comes first in every exam. Don't recruit Xing Mingchu. Recruit him. The Tsinghua University admissions officer's eyes lit up. What was the student's Gaokao score? The Peking University admissions officer adjusted his glasses, frowned, and began scrolling through his tablet. That's odd. This name isn't on the list of the top 50 students in the province. Hearing this, the Tsinghua University admissions officer also opened his tablet to search. Both Ming Sun and Wan Yuanyuan's faces stiffened. I chuckled lightly, opened my phone, and found Wan Yuanyuan's social media feed, because he never even took the college entrance exam. I showed the social media post to the teacher. During the college entrance exams, they were off traveling. Their reasoning was that the exams happen every year, but a concert to celebrate your youth only comes once. The photo shows Ming Sun with his arm around Wan Yuanyuan in the middle of a crowd. Wan Yuanyuan is holding a concert light stick, and in the background, a top-tier singer is performing. Shut your mouth. Wan Yuanyuan lunged at me, but I dodged out of the way. The admissions officers' faces instantly turned cold. We do not accept students who neglect their studies and treat the college entrance exam as a joke. I looked at Ming Sun with a defiant glare. I wonder if he'll regret his choice to give up the college entrance exam in this lifetime. But Ming Sun stood there, staring straight at me. His gaze was inscrutable, his eyes churning with emotions I couldn't decipher. 13. Afterwards, the admissions officers from Tsinghua and Peking University surrounded me. They urged me to give their offer serious consideration. Seeing this, my parents decided to lead the admissions officer, with me in tow, into a private room. But Wan Yuanyuan wasn't ready to let it go. Just then, a middle-aged woman in a faded plaid shirt burst through the hotel entrance. She grabbed Wan Yuanyuan by the hair. You little brat, give me back your brother's life-saving money right now. The hospital said they'll kick him out if we don't pay up. I stopped in my tracks. The previously haughty Wan Yuanyuan instantly turned ashen-faced. You've got the wrong person. Go home, now. She frantically tried to pry the woman's hand off, but the woman held on tight, even pulling a stack of bills from her coat and slamming them into Wan Yuanyuan's face. You stole your brother's life-saving money for a concert ticket. Didn't you swear you'd pay me back 10-fold, 100-fold? I need the money now. Give it to me. With that, she reached out to search through Wan Yuanyuan's pockets and bag. The surrounding students erupted in an uproar. Didn't Wan Yuanyuan say her family was in the real estate business? Some even pulled out their phones to take pictures. The woman refused to back down. Stop putting on airs. You'll always be my daughter, even if you're reduced to ashes. If anything happens to my son, I'll beat you to death. The two of them began to scuffle right then and there. This caused the crowd of onlookers to grow larger and larger. Seeing this, my father frowned and signaled for the security guards to clear the room. My mother and I, with practiced grace, then ushered the admissions officers into the private room. as I passed by Ming Sun, he suddenly grabbed my hand, his voice hoarse. "You had this all planned out from the start, didn't you?" I withdrew my hand with a cold sneer. "Yes. From the moment you gave up the college entrance exam for Wan Yuan. You forfeited the right to enjoy everything the Ming family provided for you." I stepped into the elevator. As the elevator doors closed, I watched with cold detachment as Ming Sun's face drained of color and Wan Yuan was dragged away by her hair, a pitiful sight orchestrated by her own mother. 14. My Gaokao scores came out, and I got 712 points. After wrestling with the decision for a long time, I still ended up applying to Tsinghua University, after submitting my college applications. I spent another week lounging at home, thoroughly enjoying the downtime. During that time, Ming Sun came to the Ming family estate a few times. He stood outside the iron gates of the Ming mansion, his face dark as he stared up at my window, repeatedly demanding to see me, but I never showed my face. I simply had the butler firmly block his way. I thought he would finally let it go, but to my surprise, a few days later, I was groggily awakened by a friend. Ming Sun and Wan Yuan actually started a live stream to denounce me. In the live stream, the two of them stood in front of a roadside barbecue stall, dressed in cheap clothes. The backdrop was a noisy night market. Wan Yuan faced the phone's camera, her eyes red and her voice choked with emotion. "We're truly at the end of our rope. We both should have had a bright future ahead of us. This gentleman beside me is the adopted son of the Ming Group's chairman, yet his outstanding academic performance made him a target of jealousy for the chairman's own daughter, Xing Mingchu convinced the Ming family to revoke Ming Sun's adoption and cut off his financial support. What's worse, right before the national college entrance exams, she deliberately took his study notes, sabotaging his chance to take the test, while she herself got into Tsinghua University." The camera pans to Ming Sun, who is murmuring softly in agreement off to the side. "Yes, all I'm asking for now is another chance. If the Ming family would just agree to continue supporting me, I promise to study hard and do my absolute best to get into Tsinghua." Hearing this, Wan Yuan burst into even more bitter tears. "We were just having a class reunion dinner at a hotel owned by the Ming family, only 50 of us, yet, the Ming slapped us with a bill for 150,000 yuan. They took the life-saving money I had set aside for my brother. And now he's stuck in the hospital with no way to pay for treatment." As soon as she said this, the comment section exploded. "How utterly vile. Do rich people think they can just bully others like this? The Ming family is disgusting. Boycott them." I reported it on Tsinghua University's official website. I can't believe they'd accept someone as heartless and ungrateful as Xing Mingchu. I watched the two of them in the live stream, relentlessly smearing my name and the Ming family's reputation. The hashtags #Xingmingchu bullying and #the Ming family abuses its power quickly shot to the top of the trending charts. My parents were so worried they even called to comfort me. I just waved it off. I let the public opinion storm rage on. I'm saying this is no big deal. If they're looking for trouble, I'm more than happy to oblige. I poured fuel on the trending topic. After all, the higher they're lifted, the harder they fall. 15. I waited until 2 or 3 days later, the day when public opinion reached its peak. Only then did I release the video evidence I had prepared long in advance. This included the video of Wan Yuan giving Ming Sun a concert ticket invitation before the college entrance exams, the chat records of Ming Sun generously treating his classmates in the group, and the original adoption agreement with the orphanage. The agreement clearly states, in black and white, that the adoption is valid until Ming Sun comes of age. As it stands, my father has already legally terminated the adoption relationship with Ming Sun. Ming Sun ceased to be a member of the Ming family long ago. The moment the video evidence surfaced, public opinion flipped instantly. Ming Sun and Wan Yuan's livestream was instantly flooded with a torrent of abuse. So, after all this, it turns out they brought it on themselves. "You didn't even take the college entrance exam. And you're blaming others. Serves you right, selling stuff on the street now, while others got into Tsinghua. You're just grilling skewers. Quite the perfect match, really." I watched as the two of them, faces pale as ghosts, scrambled to shut down the live stream in a panic. Feeling thoroughly pleased, I took a swig of my soda and casually picked up the ringing phone. From the other end of the line came a voice, cool and magnetic. "I'm back. So, when are you buying me dinner?" 16. I was taken aback. It reminded me of the time Gu Yanchen went back to school for his final exams. I had promised to treat him to a meal as a thank you for the tutoring once he got back. I replied breezily. We settled on a time. I had assumed he would pick a fancy restaurant, but to my surprise, He suggested meeting on an old food street in the west of the city. The street was bustling in the evening. I weaved through the crowd, and the aroma of dried vegetable cakes and candied chestnuts made my mouth water. I ate until I was completely stuffed, then waddled into a restroom holding my stomach, but when I came back out, Gu Yanchen was nowhere to be seen. I started searching ahead, only to hear a hoarse voice call out from behind me, Ming Chu. I turned back. Ming's son stood not far away, a few band-aids plastered on his forehead, a bruise coloring the corner of his mouth. He looked thoroughly disheveled. A thought crossed my mind, and I said coldly, "Are you following me? What do you want?" Ming's son limped closer, his eyes fixed on me, his voice trembling. "I came to find you, to tell you that I regret it." I let out a cold laugh. "Regret what?" Ming's son clenched his fist. "Regret giving up on the Gaokao, regret choosing Ruan Yuan, regret breaking up with you. I've decided to retake the year. Could you wait for me at Tsinghua?" The more he spoke, the more hope blazed in his eyes. Looking into his eyes, I saw a reflection of my past self, the one he tormented in a previous life. I let out a scornful laugh, my voice dripping with hatred. "Ming-san, didn't you once say you'd be content even selling trinkets on the street, as long as you were with the one you loved? What's the matter? Having second thoughts now? When did I ever say?" His face went pale, his pupils constricting sharply as he stared at me in utter disbelief. After a long pause, he finally spoke, his voice trembling. You've been reborn too." My heart skipped a beat as I realized something was wrong. 17. These were the very words Ming's son spat through gritted teeth, his hands around my throat. In the life before my last, and now, he's asking that very question. So he's been reborn too. My heart lurched in panic, and I turned to leave, but he grabbed my wrist and pulled me into the alley. "Ming Chu, we need to talk." "There's nothing to talk about." I shook off his hand in disgust. "Aren't you head over heels in love with Ruan Yuan? Why come to me instead of looking for her?" Ming's son's face stiffened, his eyes darting away, clearly unwilling to talk about her. "Ming Chu, take me home to see mom and dad. In this lifetime, I will treat you and our parents well, and make the Ming family prosper." He stubbornly reached out to grab me again, but the next second, a tall, slender figure stepped in front of me. Gu Yanchen seized Ming's son's wrist with one hand and shoved him away. His voice was low and icy, carrying an undeniable, oppressive force. "She said she doesn't want to talk to you." I stood behind and slightly to the side of Gu Yanchen, watching him coldly. Ming's son fell to the ground, got up wincing in pain, yet his gaze kept shifting between me and Gu Yanchen. Then, he let out a scornful laugh. "No wonder you cut me out of the Ming family so early. You found yourself a new man, haven't you? Is he really better than me?" I couldn't be bothered with him. I just grabbed Gu Yanchen's arm and tried to leave, but Ming's son took a swift step sideways, blocking my path, and suddenly raised his voice. "Ming Chu, have you forgotten? We were married, we shared a bed more times than I can count." Then, as if provoked, he turned to Gu Yanchen and said, "Xing Ming Chu is a woman I've slept with. You want my cast-off sloppy seconds." Hearing this, I trembled with rage, swung my bag, and charged at him to hit him, but Gu Yanchen was faster. He lifted his leg and delivered a swift kick straight to Ming's son's abdomen. "You shameless bastard." He threw several more punches in quick succession. Ming's son was in so much pain that he collapsed to the ground, unable to get up for a long while. I stepped forward and gave him a hard kick for good measure, then grabbed Gu Yanchen's arm and pulled him away. Before leaving, Ming's son was crouched on the ground, his sinister gaze fixed on me as if he wanted to devour me whole, but I couldn't even be bothered to spare him a glance, walking away without looking back. 18. Even after getting into Gu Yanchen's car, my heart remained heavy. Gu Yanchen said in a low voice, "Are you okay? Don't let a jerk like that get to you." Noticing Gu Yanchen's frequent glances my way as he drove, I pulled myself together. I gave him a smile. "It's fine. It's all in the past." I leaned back in the passenger seat, my gaze drifting idly out the window. Then, I suddenly caught sight of a familiar figure. At that moment, Ruan Yuan was wearing a tight miniskirt, giggling coquettishly as she clung to the arm of a portly, middle-aged man. The man's face was slick with grease. As they walked, his hand wandered suggestively around her waist, while his lecherous gaze kept darting toward the scandalously low neckline of Ruan Yuan's dress. Ruan Yuan didn't pull away. Instead, she pressed closer, offering a sycophantic, ingratiating smile. Gu Yanchen followed my gaze with a glance of his own and spoke in a flat tone. "That's Lu Meng, in the building materials business. He's got a wife and kids at home, but he's got a thing for chasing young girls, a real piece of work." I raised an eyebrow. "Do you know him?" "No, I just looked into it out of boredom. His tone was calm, yet laced with a hint of disgust. My eyes were fixed on Yuan's retreating figure. At that moment, she was nestled in a man's arms, and whatever she said sent him into a fit of hearty laughter. The man's plump hands began roaming over her body with even greater audacity. Gu Yanchen spoke softly. Should I get involved? I averted my gaze, my tone indifferent. Why should I? I'm done meddling in other people's business for the rest of my life. I'd be better off focusing that energy on myself. Gu Yanchen let out a low chuckle, said nothing more, and kept driving. I glanced at him from the corner of my eye. Do you think I'm being cold? He paused for a moment, then shook his head with a smile. No, it's actually good. It shows you've learned to protect yourself better. I lowered my head in silence, the only sound in the car the soft flow of music. After a long while, I felt a slight dampness at the corner of my eye. I reached into the car's small compartment for a tissue, but my gaze caught a slightly yellowed paper airplane tucked to the side. The handwriting looked so familiar. Instinctively, I pulled out the paper airplane and snapped my head up to look at Gu Yanchen. This is my paper airplane. He gave a light chuckle and nodded. Well, so today, I'm here to make your wish come true. 19. I carefully unfolded it. Best of luck on the Gaokao, Senior. I hope you get into Tsinghua. P.S. If you do, can you take me to eat everything on the food street? His gaze was gentle, yet my heart seemed to skip a beat. This paper airplane was from that year in 11th grade, when the school organized us to write well wishes for the graduating seniors. The seniors stood downstairs to receive the blessings. Meanwhile, the freshmen and sophomores wrote down their well wishes, folded them into paper airplanes, and tossed them from the classroom building. At the time, I was starving myself on a crazy diet because of Mingxuan's offhand comment about me getting chubby. To the point of feeling lightheaded, I just scribbled that sentence down. Little did I know, Gu Yanchen would find it and take it to heart. My heart fluttered, and I couldn't help but turn to ask, Gu Yanchen, do you, like me? His grip on the steering wheel tightened slightly. He then let out a soft chuckle, his tone laced with a hint of teasing. What are you thinking about? You're still just a girl. Don't spend all your time thinking about romance and love. Wait until you're older. Oh. I sat back down and watched the cars passing by. A vague, inexplicable ache welled up in my heart, even after he dropped me off and I watched his car drive away. A hollow feeling lingered in my heart. 20. In the following days, I went abroad to clear my head. I didn't return to N City until just before the new semester began. I had just landed when I got a call from my friend, Su Xingxing. She said she wanted to have a small get-together before we all went our separate ways for the new semester. I wasn't really in the mood to go, but I couldn't resist her persistent pleading. In the end, I agreed, but when I pushed open the private room door, I wasn't met with Su Xingxing's smiling face, but with Ming Sun's icy glare. Long time no see, Ming Chu. A twisted smile played at the corner of his mouth. I turned to run, but he yanked me back, sending me sprawling onto the sofa. In the corner, Su Xingxing was tied up, a cloth gag in her mouth, her eyes glistening with terrified tears. Ming Sun locked the private room door. I grabbed the bottle from the table and backed up next to Su Xingxing. Ming Sun, have you lost your mind? I demanded sharply. This is kidnapping. You'll go to jail for this. Ming Sun closed in step by step, his eyes wild with madness. I'm not crazy. You drove me to this. I'll make you understand. You belong to me and only me. He reached out to grab me. I swung the wine bottle at him, but he dodged out of the way. The next instant, he grabbed my hair and pinned me down hard, his breath ragged and reeking of alcohol. You think you can get away? He bore down on me. I struggled desperately, my nails raking bloody scratches across his body and face. He only grew more enraged, swinging his hand to slap me across the face. Let me make this clear. In our past life, you were my wife. In this life, you won't escape me either. I will have you, and I will have the Ming family. Just as he tore at my clothes, I gathered strength in my legs and drove my knee hard into his groin. In the instant Ming Sun recoiled in pain, I shoved him away with all my might. Ming Sun scrambled to his feet, his eyes glaring at me with murderous intensity, but the next moment, police sirens blared out abruptly. The private room door was smashed open. Ming Sun's face fell. He turned to flee, only to be tackled to the ground by the police. Just before he was handcuffed and dragged away, Ming Sun's eyes were bloodshot, fixed on me with an unyielding stare. Meanwhile, I was trembling all over, held tightly in an embrace that carried a cool, refreshing scent. Gu Yanchen had arrived at some point without my notice. Thank goodness. The moment I stepped into the private room and sensed something was off, I discreetly called the police. After we were rescued, Gu Yanchen took me and Su Xingxing to the police station to give our statements. He then made sure we were calm and okay before driving us home. 21. Later. Ming's son was sentenced to 10 years in prison for attempted kidnapping and rape. I attended Tsinghua University, majoring in financial management. I didn't pursue any romantic relationships during my time at university. Instead, I devoted all my energy to my studies and the Ming group. I would occasionally run into Gu Yanchen on campus. He would take me to try all sorts of delicious food and help me with my coursework. Yet, he always maintained a perfectly polite distance, that is, until graduation day, when he came to me holding a bouquet of roses and a document. I took the document and began to read, my pupils contracting in shock. What is this? A share transfer agreement. Gu Yanchen had actually gifted me half of the assets under his name. His voice was gentle yet firm. Ming Chu, I told you we would talk about love when you were older. Now, you've graduated, and you've grown up. This agreement is my first gift to you. May I have your permission to properly court you? My fingers trembled slightly as I accepted the rose and the agreement, my eyes growing warm. Senior Gu, doesn't this count as taking by force? He chuckled softly, leaning in close until his breath brushed past my ear. No, this is what you call a long time in the making. The end. Story 2. I scored 605 on the college entrance exam, but my boyfriend tampered with my application, landing me in a second-tier university. After taking everything precious from me, he casually said he found girls like me who lacked self-respect disgusting. I drowned by accident, and my spirit hovered in the air. Witnessing 3 months of absurd drama, my grandmother, who refused to pay my tuition, pocketed 100,000 in compensation from the school. The cheating ex who got guaranteed grad school admission, woke up to find myself back in senior year. That haunting question echoes in my mind. You could have made it to Tsinghua or Peking University. Why didn't you? Damn right. Why? How is this fair? Clenching my fists, this time, no one will crush my dreams. Dark transformation in progress, only to get cornered by the school bully. How the hell did I get 3 answers for this problem? Teach me now. 1. 3 months after drowning, I was reborn. I opened my eyes to find myself back in my senior year classroom. My previous life, I scored 605 on the college entrance exam, but my boyfriend tampered with my application, changing my guaranteed spot at a top-tier university to a local second-rate college. When I received the admission letter, I was shaking with rage. I tentatively asked Grandma about repeating the year, only to be met with her jabbing finger and furious scolding. Girls are nothing but money pits. You turned down the betrothal gifts for school, and now you want to quit. You'll go get engaged today. With no other choice, I enrolled in a second-tier college, the same one my boyfriend got into. In my junior year, I foolishly believed my boyfriend's empty promise about taking our first love all the way to marriage, and gave him everything precious I had. He casually sneered, "Zhou zhao zhao. Girls like you with no self-respect are downright disgusting." Then he turned around and confessed to the department's beauty queen with theatrical solemnity, real conquest, dragging her off that pedestal and stomping on her. God damn, that's the ultimate rush. Seeing my boyfriend's bragging post online shattered me completely in that moment. Sobbing uncontrollably, I stumbled and fell into the school's artificial lake, submerged in water, unable to breathe. I couldn't even muster the strength to struggle. When consciousness returned, I found my body semi-transparent, floating mid-air. Looks like he's dead. Guess we'll just wait for the Grim Reaper to collect him. Little did we know, while waiting around, we'd be treated to quite the spectacle first. The moment Grandma reached the school gate, she popped a heart attack pill, sobbing as she pulled a protest banner from her cloth bag. Give me back my precious granddaughter's life. In the end, we took the 100K compensation and went home with my younger brother. Completely satisfied, my boyfriend was sobbing uncontrollably, telling everyone I was his first love, gentle and quiet, never the type to take my own life. He swore to get to the bottom of it. The school administration eventually promised him guaranteed grad school admission, so he happily took the department's prettiest girl to a hotel. Only me, just me, floating mid-air, watching their performance, the crowd dispersing, then being swiftly forgotten. Oh wait, there's one more. Every day by the lake. Finishing a whole cigarette, never failing to mutter "fucking moron" before leaving. What the hell, I thought I'd keep drifting like this forever. Had even mapped out a 5-year plan, when suddenly, life shoved me hard. It felt like being face-planted into sand. Pressure crashed over me, my chest tightened, leaving me gasping for air. When I blinked awake, our balding homeroom teacher was hyping himself up at the podium. Class, this is your final semester of senior year. The moment of truth is here. Whoa, I've been reborn. 2. In the silent classroom, my breathing sounded unnaturally loud. Zhou Zhao Zhao, there's no need to be this nervous. You're the top student in our grade. Getting into a 211 university is well within your reach. The homeroom teacher didn't expect such an intense reaction and ended up comforting her instead. A snicker erupted from the back of the classroom. Mr. Sun, what Zhou Zhao Zhao fears isn't failing the exam. She deliberately drew out her words. That she won't be able to sell her Gaokao results. The remark sent the entire class into fits of laughter. My temples were still throbbing as I kept my eyes shut, too drained to lift my head. That voice, I'd recognize it anywhere. Zhang Ting. For all 3 years of high school, she never stopped spreading that rumor about me being a school slut. I ranked 3rd citywide in the high school entrance exams, securing my spot at Municipal No. 1 High, when people congratulated her. Grandma initially waved them off impatiently, muttering, "What's the use of a girl doing well in exams? Marrying well is what really matters." But after a few phone calls, her perspective broadened, and she began gleefully comparing offers like a shrewd merchant. She eventually negotiated a savvy deal for 50,000 yuan, effectively selling me to No. 10 high school by forcing me to change my application. The school administrators wept with joy, exclaiming, "In 3 years, we'll finally produce a Tier 1 university candidate." No, a 211 project graduate. I'm completely numb to it, but Grandma was over the moon, bought a gaming console for my little brother, installed a big screen TV at home, then patted the bank card in my pocket with a smile. "This is for my precious grandson's college fund," of course, even though my brother only ended up going to a vocational school. Grandma kept telling everyone that sending girls to school was just to earn tuition money for the boys. Soon every middle and high school in the city knew the girl who ranked 3rd in the entrance exams chose some bottom-tier school just for 50 grand. I became the butt of jokes for 3 straight years because of it. I'd been swallowing my pride for 3 years, but unfortunately, I'm no longer the old Zhou Zhao Zhao. Now I'm Zhou, the ghost queen of a university Zhao Zhao. Everyone said this school was haunted, but I never believed it until I became a ghost myself. On Campus A, even the cliques among ghosts outnumber those of the living. During those 3 months, I got beaten up daily as the newbie specter, but while the living can be beaten to death, the dead can't be pummeled back to life. Just left howling in pain, after weeks of taking hits, I finally snapped and fought back, discovering an unexpected talent for brawling, with my STEM background. Concepts like leverage, torque, airflow, pressure, and electromagnetic fields became surprisingly handy when brawling with spirits. Before my rebirth, I was rallying my crew to establish our own turf, aiming to dominate a university spirit world within 5 years, but now, my empire building got cut short by this untimely reincarnation. I may never become the underworld kingpin of a university's spirit realm, but facing my old friends again, I'm no longer the timid pushover I used to be. I cleared my throat and spoke deliberately. At least I'm selling results, unlike some people who sell themselves. In the back row, Zhang Ting froze for a second before springing to her feet. "Who are you talking about? Whoever stands up is who I mean. Don't you dare make baseless accusations. Isn't it you who gets a boyfriend whenever you can't afford new shoes?" I turned and gave her a composed smile. For 3 years in high school, I bit my tongue. But that doesn't mean I didn't know all the gossip. Zhang Ting's face flushed and paled alternately, her lips trembling with rage. "I did no such thing." "That's right, she didn't. Zhou Zhao Zhao, stop slandering decent people." Up front, Zhang Ting's girlfriends were getting worked up too. I gave her a glance but couldn't be bothered to engage. I just kept telling Zhang Ting, "Stop wasting your time picking fights with me. You'd better keep an eye on your little friend. Don't be the fool who gets played while laughing it off." If I remember right, that friend of hers ended up skipping the college entrance exams altogether. A year later, she was holding a baby at her wedding, to Zhang Ting's current boyfriend. Funny how getting married and having kids right after graduation somehow counts as a life path at this high school. Zhang Ting scanned the classroom, her face burning with humiliation. After all her trash talking about others being promiscuous, she'd been exposed as the real hypocrite. She grabbed the nearest water glass and hurled it straight at me. I dodged sideways just in time. The glass struck her best friend square on the forehead, and blood instantly gushed out. The classroom erupted into chaos. I sat perfectly still, save for a single drop of blood splattering onto the back of my hand. That warm sensation finally gave tangible meaning to the word rebirth. I slowly raised my head. Amidst the chaos diagonally behind me, Jiang Yu leaned against the wall with an amused smirk. He didn't even bother to check if I was hurt. Not exactly boyfriend material. It suddenly dawned on me. Right, I wasn't reborn just to engage in petty arguments. I'm here to fulfill unfinished dreams, and make those who once feasted on my corpse pay the price. 3. Zhang Ting's friend was sent to the infirmary while Zhang Ting herself got dragged to the dean's office. The commotion continued as I leafed through the test papers spread on the desk, most of which were already completed, having studied math at University A in my past life while preparing for grad school. I found this high school seniors exam surprisingly easier than expected, picked up the pen, circled a mistake, and corrected it. Jiang Yu finally walked over, effortlessly snatched the pen from my hand, tossed it aside, then grabbed the test paper, ripping it in half with a tear. Screw this test, come game with me at the internet cafe, he said, pausing when he met my icy glare. Right, I'd always found Jiang Yu rather puzzling. In this so-called elite class of 10th high, we were essentially the top students, the best of a mediocre bunch. Aside from those planning to work or marry right after graduation, some still hoped to push themselves for college entrance exams. Jiang Yu was one of them. Unfortunately, he had poor test-taking nerves. While his regular scores met top-tier university standards, he'd always choke during major exams. During the final joint exam of senior year, he failed both math and science sections, and only completed half of his Chinese essay. From that point on, his confidence completely shattered. I absolutely detest exams and test papers, can't even stand seeing me work on them. In my past life, I thought he was just in a bad mood, but when I saw his smug post, dragging her off her pedestal, it all clicked. Some maggots, trapped in their own filth, will drag others down just to have something to trample on. The closer you are to him, the less you're allowed to stand taller. The glance I shot at Jiang Yu carried unmistakable hatred and revulsion. The icy glare honed from battling demons must have been terrifying. Exclusive contact pushpin WeChat, QQID 1797328031. He visibly shuddered. How had I never noticed Jiang Yu was such a coward before? I nearly burst out laughing, but I held back. How to get back at a scumbag, give him a taste of his own medicine. I closed my eyes briefly, then reopened them with the same gaze I'd given him back in high school. Innocence, joy, attachment, sure. I compliantly rose to my feet. Jiang Yu visibly relaxed. Thinking I was still the same old Zhou Zhaozhao. The internet cafe is near the school. This neighborhood has no 10 high and no 13 high, both notorious for being lousy schools, so the internet cafes were packed right after the semester started. As we walked in, we ran into some kids from no 13 high. I'd just sat down next to Jiang Yu and put away my phone when he shot me a disapproving look. Aren't you going to get me lunch? It's been so long that I've completely forgotten. Even though we could have ordered delivery, Jiang Yu always enjoyed bossing me around to fetch his meals. The round trip from the internet cafe to his favorite diner took a good half hour on foot. No scallions, ginger, or garlic, but extra cilantro. Right, I struggled to recall. He shot me a dull look before turning back to the screen, initiating the parachute drop. His gaze never returned to me. In my past life, this would have crushed me, but now, all I see is an opportunity. At the bar by the entrance, I hastily paid the bill and bumped into someone. You blind or what? How dare you mess with our boss? Shouted a lanky guy who looked like a bamboo pole. But my eyes locked onto the person I'd collided with, Suzhua, the notorious school bully from 10th high. In my past life, though we'd crossed paths in high school, I always kept my distance. We never interacted. Our first real conversation happened at University A, on registration day. He summoned me outside the dorm and stood there for ages, staring straight at me. You actually came to this kind of school too, dumbass. After a long pause, he dropped this baffling remark and left. For 3 months after my death, it was him, Suzhua, who showed up without fail every day by the lake to call me a dumbass. What a lunatic. When I returned to senior year and met Suzhua, I realized he's the real dumbass. Choosing to be a school bully already screams low IQ. His lackeys had hair dyed like Christmas lights, a rainbow mess. That beanpole with green hair acted so cocky, practically begging people to underestimate their brain cells. Suzhua wasn't much better himself. His medium-length hair was dyed silver gray and tied back, but his sharp, delicate features just barely pulled off the look, though the oversized logo hoodie and ripped jeans were way too edgy for mainstream taste. Zhou Zhaozhao, Suzhua drawled, leaning lazily against the bar with an unreadable look in his eyes. I don't have time for his cryptic games. We're already running late. So you're the famous boss of 10th high? I asked. The lanky guy bristled. What's that supposed to mean? You looking for a fight? Only then did I realize how provocative that sounded. I shook my head. No, but stay right here. Don't move. as I dashed out of the internet cafe. The lanky guy behind me was still fuming. "Boss, isn't that girl way too cocky?" "Yeah," Sujua's drawn-out reply carried unmistakable mockery. I came back panting with the takeout, and sure enough, Sujua was still at the counter. He hadn't budged an inch, still in the exact same position, only now with a cigarette between his fingers. His crew had been chatting and gaming, but they all scrambled to their feet the moment I walked back in. They peered cautiously over my shoulder. So do I really give off that gang boss vibe now? I walked straight up to Sujua. "Do you know me?" Resource group pushpin WeChat, QQ number 1797328031. He snorted through his nose and rolled his eyes. Without answering, he took a shallow drag of his cigarette and slowly exhaled, letting thin wisps of white smoke drift between us. So I was asking a dumb question. "Wait, back in freshman year, was it you who stopped them from tearing my books and breaking my stuff?" I choked out between coughs. My admission was essentially bought, which sparked widespread resentment among classmates. The bullying came thick and fast, but by second semester, things gradually improved. The physical harassment stopped, leaving only occasional verbal jabs and gossip. I'm truly content with this. I overheard someone who tore my book getting scolded by others. The boss said not to touch her stuff, just curse at her a bit and be done with it. As expected, people never change out of genuine remorse, only fear ever reforms anyone. I always thought the boss they mentioned was Jiangyu, and he certainly implied and allowed that impression to persist. That's why I was so grateful and obedient to him in my past life. Later, I saw his bragging post saying, "I didn't have to lift a finger, just strung her along, and she gave me everything." Only then did I realize my so-called first love had been built on lies from the very beginning. Looking back now, the boss those people kept mentioning could only be the school bully Sujua. He stubbed out his cigarette and gave a nonchalant What? The tone was challenging, but his lazy eyes held a hint of anticipation. Normally at this point, someone would follow up by asking why he helped me, but I just won't. If in my past life I still feared Sujua somewhat, after witnessing his ridiculous antics following my death, now all I feel toward him is pure speechlessness. "You love playing the aloof ice prince, love calling me dumbass, then by all means, stay frosty. It's nothing." I shrugged with a casual smile, pulling a cola from the plastic bag. I handed it over. "Thanks." Sujua wore a visibly stifled expression. He didn't take it, his face darkening instantly. "Is this it? A free drink that came with the meal, and you're giving it to me? What do you take me for?" I pulled out the receipt from the bag and waved it in front of him. "It's not free. I bought it specially." Sujua actually took the receipt and scrutinized it, his face darkening like a storm cloud. "2 bottles, one for that Jiang whatever, and I just get the leftover one." My face darkened in disbelief. I never expected him to be this sharp. "Jiangyu doesn't drink cola, he says it'll kill." The last word died in my throat as Sujua looked ready to explode. He straightened up, advancing with menacing steps, practically grinding his teeth. "Zhou zhao zhao. Am I not a man?" Pinned against the wall, I was utterly speechless. That claim had zero scientific basis. Whatever, he probably wouldn't get it anyway. I wedged the soda can into the hole of his ripped jeans and just let go, not caring if it fell. "Since I love Coke, I got you one too. Take it or leave it." Under Sujua's complicated gaze, I shoved his chest aside and slipped free from his grasp. "By the way, stop wearing these thin pants, you'll get arthritis. And learn some manners instead of cursing all the time." The lanky guy only found his voice after I'd walked several meters away, shrieking, "Boss, this chick actually dares to tell you what to do." This time I couldn't hold back and burst out laughing. At that moment, I didn't realize it was the first genuine happiness I'd felt since my rebirth. Jiangyu lost several games in a row, even got instantly wiped in one match, then took his frustration out on me by blaming the takeout I bought. I let him grumble away while carefully peeling shrimp and removing veins for him. Sujua walked past us, still acting all cocky, but he was clutching that half-empty cola bottle in his hand. After finishing the plate of shrimp, I rubbed my hands sheepishly and said to Jiangyu, "Gonna wash my hands real quick." He curled his lips slightly without even lifting an eyelid. When I re-entered the internet cafe through the side door, I didn't return to Jiangyu's side. Instead, I quietly slipped into a secluded corner, retreating further into the shadows to conceal myself, waiting for the spectacle about to unfold. Didn't look carefully, but there was actually a private booth behind me, and I accidentally backed into the door, swinging it open. Inside, Sujua was sitting at the computer, his well-defined fingers resting casually on the keyboard. He turned to look at me, the irritation in his eyes instantly shifting to amusement. "Oh, so now you want to know the reason?" I hurried inside, carefully closing the door behind me, leaving just a tiny crack. Shut up, a furious shout came from outside. Which little shit named Jiangyu from No. 10 High School is here, get your ass out here. The rowdy internet cafe fell deathly silent in an instant, all eyes turned toward the source of the noise, the notorious school bully from No. 13 High standing at the entrance. 5. In his arms clung his whimpering, delicate girlfriend, throughout high school. I made it my business to know all the bullies from No. 10 and No. 13 High, not for drama, but for strategic avoidance. These students couldn't care less about grades, not that it would matter anyway. Gang fights, however, are pretty much the norm here, surviving in this messed up environment without teachers backing me up, with only my grandma left at home. I had to do whatever it took to protect myself. Jiangyu's gaming buddies quietly stood up and wisely distanced themselves from him when they heard the commotion, though they didn't know how their buddy had pissed people off. The 13 tyrants were seeing red, they feared getting splattered with blood when the brawl inevitably broke out. Jiangyu visibly panicked. Claim benefits pushpin WeChat, QQ179-732-8031, his face turned deathly pale, utterly bewildered yet trembling in silence. 13 tyrant sneered. Slowly advancing toward him, pulled out the phone, shoved it in his face with a vicious grin, slowly swiping through the screen with a finger. That piece of trash they're talking about in this post, that's you, isn't it? Jiangyu instinctively denied it, but froze when he saw the enlarged photos staring back at him. It was unmistakably him, owner's exclusive ID pushpin WeChat, QQ number 179-732-8031, the profile of a creep ogling under a girl's skirt at the internet cafe entrance. The sneaky hand groping a girl's butt in the crowded bar, and of course, there's more, the smirk on his face while using a hidden mirror on his shoe to upskirt unsuspecting women. Of course, the victims weren't just 13 tyrants' girlfriend, there were many others. How can I see everything so clearly from this distance? Because the poster is me. Before going to buy food for Jiangyu, I secretly booted up a computer in the corner and posted this thread on the school forum. The photos of him harassing 13 tyrants' girlfriend were taken today outside the internet cafe, same outfits in every shot, undeniable evidence. The other photos were accidental shots I took before, still sitting undeleted in my phone. I had no clue what the mirror on shoes thing meant back then, only asked why he kept bumping into other girls. Jiangyu claimed it was just an accident, yet blamed me for thinking the worst of him. In my past life, I actually believed him and even blamed myself. It wasn't until I became a ghost that I finally saw the ugliness in his heart. Jiangyu was actually quite handsome and popular with girls. By all rights, he shouldn't have been like this, but he had this flaw. His ambitions soared higher than the sky. He thought the whole world was beneath him, yet resented everyone for having it easier and better than he did. Pathetic and laughable. He tore up my test papers out of envy for top students, then groped a school bully's girlfriend to spite him. In his deluded secrecy, he savored the thrill of petty revenge. Then he turned around and shamelessly accused the girl who trusted him wholeheartedly of having no self-respect. Disgusting. Students who saw the post found it equally revolting. Comments identified Jiangyu in the photos, with some even posting damning evidence. The post went viral within minutes. When I went to wash my hands, I was just waiting for 13 tyrants to come settle the score. Before Jiangyu could even snap out of his daze, 13 tyrants already slapped him across the face. Think carefully before you speak. I can't stand liars. Was it you or not? Another slap landed. The force of those two slaps was evident from the immediate swelling on Jiangyu's face. Stunned by the blows, he stammered, "Why yes, it was me." Just before the third strike landed, he raised his arm to block it. "But this was all my girlfriend's idea. Yes, she made me film it." Jiangyu nervously swallowed hard, pointing at the seat I'd just vacated. Her bag's still here, she'll be back any minute. His eyes darted around frantically searching for me. I could barely suppress my laughter. Jiangyu was being such a pathetic coward. Even the notorious 13 tyrants fell for his bluff. Scanning the room with him. "So where's your girlfriend?" Pressed against the doorframe, I instinctively recoiled and bumped into Suzhou behind me. He was sneaking peeks at the drama too. I looked up, he gazed down. That smug grin on his face didn't escape my notice. 6. Regretting dating that Jiang what's his name yet. Can't expect ivory from a dog's mouth. He sure knows how to twist the knife. Not only that, he yanked me aside and boldly reached out to pull. The door swung open. Caught completely off guard, I was abruptly thrust from darkness into blinding light. Multiple gazes locked onto me. sending my heart racing as I desperately calculated which exit route would result in the least beating. Sujwa suddenly stepped forward, shielding me with his body. His towering 6-foot frame completely blocked my view. Are you brain dead? 13. What woman wants to look at another woman? Even if she did, why wouldn't she touch herself instead of letting some creep do it for her? Are you stupid or what? Why did Sujwa have to take a swipe at me right now? 13's rage was boiling over. But his expression shifted instantly when he turned and saw it was Sujwa. Oh, brother Zhua's here today too, huh? He released his grip on Jiangyu's shoulder and asked tentatively, this kid goes to your 10th high. Don't tell me you're looking out for him. Sujwa sneered, I don't take in trash. This coward makes me sick just looking at him. Casually grabbing a stick from the corner, he tossed it to 13 tyrants. I've got college entrance exams to worry about. Just rough him up a bit, don't bring the cops down on us. 13 tyrant grinned, tapping the bat against his palm. Got it, boss Zhua. Stalking toward Jiangyu step by step. Which filthy hand of yours touched my girl, you bastard? I craned my neck to watch, but Sujwa shoved me into the private room. Click, the door locked. It's too gory. Don't want to scare a good student like you. Jiangyu's blood-curdling scream came from outside. A shiver ran down my spine, but I almost laughed. Then 2 warm hands covered my ears. Don't be scared. Nothing serious will happen. Even 13 wouldn't dare barge in. Sujwa chuckled lowly, so brave with me, yet such a coward otherwise. The faint scent of tobacco lingered on his fingertips, normally something I detest, but now, my already fearless heart seems to have grown even calmer. Fine. I'd decided not to tell him how I beat that vengeful spirit so badly even the king of hell wouldn't recognize it. Sensing the commotion outside was winding down, I waved at Sujwa. I'm out. He looked startled. Where to? Go back and study for your exams. All this trouble I'm causing isn't just to get back at Jiangyu. The main thing is to stop him from disrupting my studies, like I'd sink to that scumbag's level. Sujwa's face went completely blank. I stepped out the door, then turned back. Aren't you going back to study hall? Last life he barely scraped into a tier 2 college just by being the school bully. This time if he actually tries, getting into a tier 1 university should be doable. Green Bamboo and his lackeys were squatting by the entrance on standby, grinning like they just heard a joke. Novel collection pushpin WeChat. QQ number 1797328031. Boss, this chick is telling you to hit the books. Ha ha ha. Sujwa looked like he was about to lose it. Shut the hell up. What's so funny? After study hall, I headed home. The route was familiar, yet the moment I pushed open the door, everything felt strangely foreign. After starting college, I rarely went home, though my university was local. I spent every holiday working to pay tuition and living expenses. Truth be told, I genuinely didn't want to return to that place that kept trying to trap me, but back in high school, with heavy coursework and empty pockets, breaking free from my family seemed impossible. Bang, a bowl shattered at my feet. I said I'm not eating. Stop nagging. My brother stormed toward the master bedroom, his phone blaring game sounds. Grandma trailed behind, fussing. How can you skip dinner? At your age, you need proper meals to grow strong. Spotting my return, she pointed at the spilled egg custard on the floor. Zhao, clean this up now. Same old story, from infancy to his teens. Grandma's been chasing my little brother around to feed him. Is eating independently really that hard? Stepping over the mess, I tossed my backpack into the tiny balcony cubby. Yep, this is where I live. Mom passed away from childbirth complications when my brother was born, and Dad died in an industrial accident years ago. Now it's just Grandma raising the 2 of us, 7, in our 70 square meter old apartment. My brother gets the master bedroom while Grandma takes the smaller one. They partitioned a tiny space on the balcony with a folding cot. That's where I sleep. To Grandma, my brother represents the last surviving bloodline of the Zhou family. I'm just a money-losing burden who'll be married off sooner or later, but at least it's my own private space, and I'm content with that. When Grandma came out again and saw the floor still in disarray, she yanked open the partition curtain. Aren't you going to clean up? Do you expect these old bones to get down on the floor and scrub? I was halfway through changing when I quickly grabbed my pajamas to cover myself. Why can't he clean up after himself? Since when does your brother do such chores? That's what older sisters are for. I nearly laughed. If he's not meant for chores, what's he good for? Lazing around playing video games. Grandma was so furious she started hitting me. What's wrong with your brother playing games to unwind after failing his exam? Who asked for your opinion? It's because of your academic success that he's lost all confidence. The room was too cramped, nowhere to dodge. I took 2 solid hits, no point arguing, you can't change old school thinking with a few words. I changed my clothes and cleaned up the broken bowl and egg custard from the floor, returned to the cubicle, drew the curtain, and started reviewing my study materials. In this household, I never dared hope for a quiet environment or uninterrupted time to complete a test paper, but I'd barely turned 2 pages when Grandma's voice called out again, "Zhao dear, fetch some water for your brother to wash his feet." An angry shout came from the master bedroom. "I won't wash them, damn annoying," Grandma coaxed gently. "Washing your feet helps you sleep better at night, be good now." Then she reminded me, "Zhao dear, don't make the water too hot. Add more warm water after your brother starts washing." My head was splitting with pain. I slammed the book shut and took deep, heaving breaths just to barely calm down. Returning to this life again, I found it so suffocating I could hardly breathe. God knows how I endured it last time. Went to the kitchen, filled an enamel basin with hot water, tempered it with cold, and tested it, just the right temperature. Carried it to the master bedroom and set it down by the bed. "Hurry up and wash up. I still need to study after this." My younger brother was sprawled on a crumpled blanket playing Honor of Kings, completely ignoring me. My last shred of patience was fading. "If you don't wash up, Grandma will make my life miserable today. Get moving." The phone announced, "You have been slain." My brother sat up, yelling furiously, "Fuck, can you stop ruining my game?" I crossed my arms and stared at him blankly. "Hurry up and shower. I'm leaving right after." Couldn't stand being here a second longer. His rage suddenly melted into a creepy smirk. "Fine, I'll wash up." I dipped my feet into the basin, then jerked them out with a splash. Water droplets sprayed everywhere, drenching my face and hair. "Ha ha ha, asking me to wash my feet. You want to drink my foot bath or something?" My little brother howled with laughter, rolling on the bed, wiping the water off my face. I noticed my hands were trembling. The water acted like gasoline, instantly igniting the fury buried deep within. Years of pent-up frustration, righteous anger, and helpless grievances were on the verge of erupting. If only reason hadn't held me back. I can't afford to burn bridges with my family before becoming independent. Apologize. My voice trembled as I spoke. "Who do you think you are to demand an apology?" My younger brother tilted his head, smiling with innocent cruelty. Zhao, have you forgotten who you really are?" "How could I ever forget?" Impossible to forget. The name Zhao was meant to summon a boy for the Zhou family. The ultrasound supposedly showed I was a boy during pregnancy, but they got a girl at birth. Grandma had originally planned to handle the situation, but Mom's poor health made them fear she couldn't conceive again, so they reluctantly kept me. They stubbornly named me Zhao in hopes of finally having a proper son to carry on the family name. After years of trying every Chinese and Western medicine, acupuncture and therapies, they finally got their baby boy. But the delivery went wrong. Mother never made it out of the operating room alive. Grandma never stopped praising Mother, calling her the Zhou family's greatest benefactor. They say Mom took one last look at my brother and felt completely at peace, saying her life was well lived. I used to understand their choices, but over time, something started feeling off, especially in my last life, after starting college. I worked part-time jobs constantly, meeting all sorts of people and seeing countless news stories. We're all human. Yet some are cherished like precious gems while others are chained in basements, stripped of freedom. Some, like me, bear names that aren't truly ours, living lives we were never meant to live. The world isn't flat, I know that much, but I can't fathom why it has to be so rugged. I glared daggers at my brother, enunciating each word. "Apologize." Now, my brother's grin widened. "You okay there, talking nonsense again?" I bit my lower lip hard, crouched down, and picked up the enamel basin. Splash! A full basin of water came pouring straight down over my little brother's head. The scalding water knocked the breath out of him, leaving him gasping for air, and so, he gulped down mouthful after mouthful of his own foot-washing water. His arrogant demeanor vanished as he stared blankly at his soaked clothes and the expanding water stain on the bed. Then he erupted like a madman, screaming, Zhao. I finally burst out laughing. "Little brother, how does your own foot bath taste?" My little brother was sprawled on the bed retching for ages before sticking his finger down his throat. I casually remarked, "Little bro, that's the same hand you just used to wash your feet." He froze, eyes burning with rage, then lunged at me like a rabid animal. Just another Tuesday for me. Didn't even flinch, pinned his arm against the wardrobe door, immobilizing him completely. Never ate properly growing up. Pathetic. Snatched the enamel basin and slammed it over his head, grabbed his phone and smashed it against the basin's bottom with a piercing clang. My little brother was howling nonstop as the basin kept shaking. You gonna apologize or what? Screw your apology. I'm going deaf here. Clang, clang, clang. I banged the basin's rim several times. That piercing sound gave me goosebumps even from outside. My little brother was screaming his lungs out. Going to apologize or not? Yes, yes, yes. Damn it. I'm fucking sorry. Zhou Zhao Zhao. The last sentence was nearly shouted hoarse. Remember this. Zhou Zhao Zhao won't put up with your nonsense. If you dare mess with me again, you'd better check if you've got what it takes. As the basin was removed, my younger brother stood dazed from the shock. Staggering as if about to collapse, instinctively, I reached out to steady him. In an instant, my hair was violently yanked, not in one solid grasp, but in vicious tufts, nearly tearing patches of scalp clean off. It was Grandma. She truly had more expertise in these scrappy brawling tactics. She actually had the heart to be cruel to her own granddaughter. Seeing Grandma coming to his aid, my brother suddenly perked up and got aggressive, kicking me violently. How dare you hit me? And now you want an apology. Who do you think you are? How dare you hit your brother, you worthless burden? I can't tell whether the physical pain cuts deeper, or the anguish in my heart hurts more at this moment. Owner's exclusive contact pushpin WeChat, QQ number 1797328031. My own family never treated me as human, then I've got nothing left to care about. Seizing the moment, I gathered all my strength and delivered a vicious kick to my brother's vulnerable spot. After a piercing shriek, the rain of blows finally stopped falling on me. Completely shut down, my brother lay writhing on the ground, curled up like a shrimp, his face as pale as paper. Grandma was so terrified that tears gushed from her eyes as she threw herself onto him with a thud. My precious boy, are you hurt? Does it hurt? She glared at me with bulging eyes. You worthless girl, you're trying to end the Zhou family line. I casually smoothed my hair that she had tugged on. What does the Zhou family's lineage have to do with me? Zhou Zhao Zhao. Besides, I deliberately held back that kick. If he's still this pathetic, it just proves the Zhou family's so-called last hope is, well, not much to write home about. In the bedroom, the grandmother and grandson were sobbing in each other's arms, while I packed my school bag in the alcove. Completely unfazed, I couldn't help but laugh. I walked out expressionless amid Grandma and my brother's curses. Even the howling midnight wind felt kinder than this house. Before I knew it, I'd wandered back to 10th High. This place I once loathed has become my last resort when there's nowhere else to go. Pity it's pitch black here too. A few steps down the alley, the internet cafe is still buzzing with life. Oh right, you can rent the cafe overnight. But after patting my empty pockets, I hesitated. My allowance has always been meager. Sometimes when I bought meals for Jiangyu and he forgot to pay me back, I had to skimp on my own food to make ends meet. I should have asked him for the meal money before 13 tyrants showed up today. Regret. I kicked at the roadside pebbles, my gaze fixed on the trash bin beside the internet cafe. It was filled with empty water bottles, along with delivery boxes and takeout containers. Granny used to say if we saved them up, we could get a few bucks per pound. I was deep in calculations when I looked up to see Sujwa standing before me, hands stuffed in his pockets. No more those ripped jeans, just proper trousers that actually looked good. Even his hoodie had lost that try-hard vibe, but his expression, well, words failed me. Are you planning to dig through trash? I nodded. That's exactly what I had in mind. Sujwa led me into the internet cafe with a face like thunder. I paused at the entrance of the private room. From what I remembered, the VIP lounge was spacious and lavishly decorated, clearly expensive at first glance. I don't want to split such an expensive bill with you. How about lending me some cash? I'll just grab a seat at the regular tables and pay you back in a few days. Sujwa scratched his head in frustration. Who the hell wants to team up with you? Damn, never thought you'd be this difficult. Without another word, he grabbed my wrist and pulled me inside. Didn't you tell me to study alone? Fine, tutor me through this test. I'll pay your hourly rate. After a moment's hesitation, I stopped resisting and followed him in. In my past life as a tutor, clients initially lowballed my rates because I graduated from a second-tier college. Daily updates pushpin WeChat Japanese symbol for beginner, QQ1797328*031. But when my students' grades improved dramatically, my reputation grew. By junior year, I was commanding premium rates. Suj was definitely getting his money's worth this time. The lights flicked on as Sujwa looked at me with a furrowed brow. He pulled me into the private bathroom. What happened to you? The mirror reflected a disheveled figure, matted hair, 3 bloody scratches across the face, completely drenched and utterly pathetic. I couldn't exactly say I'd been in a fight with family. I sighed. just to scam a few more empty water bottles from you. Suzhua laughed in frustration. Zhou Zhao Zhao, you're something else. Just wait, I'll buy a whole case later, dump all the water, and give you every empty bottle. Why waste good water? Are you dumb? Just give me the full case, I'll sell it at 20% off. They stared at each other until one of them burst out laughing. Suzhua's private room was impeccably clean and luxurious, with incredibly comfortable seating. After tidying myself up, I pulled out a test paper from my bag and spread it before him. Time to get writing. He insisted on pressing a band-aid onto my face. I shoved the test paper closer to him again. Get writing, thirsty. Want me to crack open a water bottle? Suzhua asked. I grabbed the guy who'd just stood up and pushed him back down. Cut the nonsense and write already. Suzhua tossed the gum box lazily in his hand. You're serious about this? No need to go that far. 9. After a moment's thought, it clicked. This is already one of the easier senior year exam papers. If you still find it difficult, I'll find you a freshman level 1 online. The chewing gum hit the floor with a smack. Suzhua narrowed his eyes dangerously. You think I can't solve this? Who exactly are you looking down on? Look down on you. Huh, in my past life at a university, I'd occasionally run into Suzhua, but he always acted, strangely, either staring at the sky, or gazing at trees. Once on the sports field with nothing around, he was just looking at his own hands. I kinda get it though. School tough guys tend to be a bit extra with their athleticism, who can truly excel in moral, intellectual, physical, aesthetic, and labor education all at once. But Suzhua, holding his breath in defiance, flipped the paper over and started working on the final problem. Don't be reckless, go easy on yourself. I worried about pushing him too hard. To my surprise, as I watched, his approach to solving the problem turned out to be spot on. Suzhua slammed his finished test paper in front of me with a cocky grin. If this isn't full marks, I'll take your last name. It actually was full marks. Watching him barely conceal his hopeful expression, I could no longer maintain my poker face. Think this is funny? Someone who clearly could ace exams chooses to play the struggling student, just to end up at some mediocre school. You find that amusing. Others struggle so hard to take control of their lives yet end up powerless. While you treat life's opportunities so carelessly, thinking you're hot shit, calling me an idiot. Look who's talking. I never expected to break down crying like this. Even ghosts shed tears sometimes. I didn't cry when I saw my grandmother and boyfriend leeching off me in my name. I didn't cry when a horde of vengeful spirits hunted me down and nearly shattered my soul. Not even after Rebirth, when my grandmother and brother beat me together, did I shed a tear. But watching the freedom and opportunities I'd longed for being trampled so carelessly, that finally broke me. In my past life, Jiangyu kept offering congratulations until I received my admission letter and discovered he'd tampered with my college application. My grandmother wouldn't even cover my tuition or living expenses. On my first day of enrollment, I had to apply for student loans, and every weekend after that was spent working odd jobs to make ends meet. All this was painful. But nothing haunted me more than a single sentence. On the day I received my admission letter, I ran into Himayan, an old middle school classmate. He'd just gotten his acceptance letter from Tsinghua University and was eagerly sharing the news with me. Seeing the bold A on my acceptance letter cover shocked them more than it did me. Zhou Zhao Zhao, you ranked 3rd in our high school entrance exams while I was only 10th. Zhou Zhao Zhao. You could have gotten into Tsinghua or Peking University too. Why didn't you? That day I fled in utter defeat. Why do I keep questioning myself? Why could have but didn't? When I graduated from middle school, my homeroom teacher excitedly told me that ranking top 3 in the high school entrance exam meant having one foot already in Tsinghua or Peking University, as long as nothing goes wrong. What a pity that my life has been nothing but wrong turns. Suzhua sprang up in alarm as I sobbed uncontrollably, his chair skidding backward across the floor. Please don't cry. I promise I'll study properly and finish all my practice tests from now on. Okay, I wasn't scolding you. Every time I sit by the lake, I'm cursing myself. I regret not knowing everything you've been through. Honestly, my family's a mess too. After my parents divorced, they practically wanted to kill each other. Some days I don't even know why I bother getting out of bed. Alright, Zhou Zhao Zhao, we've been given this second chance. Let's take our exams seriously and make the most of life. Deal. I wiped my tears. So, you're reborn too. Suzhua froze for 2 seconds. Holy shit. I grabbed the tissue he handed me. So how did you die? He turned away awkwardly, mumbling, well, I just woke up back here. Anyone else get reborn? Nope. That's sure about it. Absolutely, though doubts still lingered. Seeing Sujua's stubborn refusal to talk without interrogation tactics, I wiped my face and shifted my focus. Every moment in senior year is precious. I really need to get my act together. Pulling out the newly distributed test papers from my bag, I skimmed through them. They were quite well designed, and immediately started working. Sujua sat stiffly beside me, then after a long pause, nudged my arm, still mad at me. Nope. Then why aren't you helping me with the test papers? How would I know your actual level? Go find your own practice tests. Oh, I didn't sleep a wink all night. It wasn't the private room's fault. The chair was actually quite comfortable. Sujua kept warning me that staying up late would make me go bald, but I just couldn't fall asleep. Because of Sujua, I realized he could solve every exam paper I could. No disrespect to the school toughs, but anxiety and dread kept welling up inside me. It finally dawned on me that 10th High had its limits, whether in teachers' instructional skills, exam difficulty, or students' academic levels. 10. In such an environment, even if I remained top-ranked forever, consistently outscoring second place by 100 points, this excellence would still be constrained. In my past life, I gave my all, even overperformed, on the college entrance exam, yet only managed to get into a bottom-tier 985 university in the middle of nowhere. Back in my first year of high school, I naively believed personal effort alone could bridge the gap between schools. Turns out every misstep comes with its price. I had what it took to get into Tsinghua or Peking University, but that ability wasn't destroyed when Jiangyu tampered with my college application. It had already been erased the moment Grandma spent that 50 grand. This realization made my heart sink like a stone, plummeting into the abyss of hopelessness. Hey, Zhou Zhao Zhao. Sujua waved a hand in front of my dazed eyes. Still hung up on that Jiang guy. Don't sweat it, I'll handle that bastard myself next time. I blinked, watching his brimming confidence. He's right, why worry? Being reborn into this moment is fate's greatest mercy already. Even if I could return to middle school, would I truly have the power to choose the life I want? No, I was even weaker back then than I am now. I nodded slowly. If you want to improve your grades, maybe you could ask Himayan for help. Early in the morning, Sujua was nowhere to be found. I texted our homeroom teacher Lao Yang to ask for leave. Novel collection pushpin WeChat, QQ account 179-732-8031. Just stake out Himayan at the entrance of No. 1 High School. Add backup contact pushpin WeChat, QQ number 179-732-8031. We lost contact after middle school. I heard he kept trying to find me when he first learned I went to No. 10 High. I avoided meeting him, knowing it would only bring more pain and helplessness. But now, I'm determined to give it a shot no matter what. Himayan was his usual self, yawning lazily as he arrived at school right on the dot. Spotting me crouched by the entrance, he blinked repeatedly. Zhou Zhao Zhao, am I seeing things? Just as I was about to speak to him, the school bell rang. Himayan waved cheerfully at the security guard, who surprisingly let him pass without further questioning. Relax. My competition results are in. I'm guaranteed admission to Tsinghua. Class attendance doesn't matter anymore. His eyes crinkled with amusement. Zhou Zhao Zhao, it's been years. You must have something important to come find me, right? I had prepared a whole speech and a list of reasons. I wanted to explain how awkward I felt about disturbing them, and how crucial my request really was, but to my surprise, just a few words from them put me at ease. Could I possibly take a look at your school's exam papers? I asked cautiously. Borrow? Himayan frowned. What do you mean by borrow? Zhou Zhao Zhao, I'd gladly give you the test paper. I can even explain each question to you one by one. Do you have any idea how long I've waited for this day? I've been hoping you'd reach out to me again. He threw his backpack on the ground and unzipped it. It's completely empty inside. Just a bag, nothing more. Can I borrow a pen and some paper? He reached out awkwardly, using my 3-5 book as a pad. He wrote swiftly, you need test papers, right? Here, take these practice exams, and the monthly tests too. Our weekly math quizzes are well designed. I'll give you all of them, just practice tests aren't enough. Our teacher compiled this exam key points booklet called Tsinghua One Shot Wonder, corny name, but the questions are actually well chosen. I've got my own mistake notebook. Wait no, those are for competitions. Tell you what, I'll ask our class monitor for their error compilation. Before long, they'd filled an entire page with notes. Himayan arranged to give me a few test sets that evening so I could start studying. The usually sluggish guy perked up as he waved at me and strode into campus, even letting out a sharp whistle. His energy reignited something in me. A dormant fire began smoldering in my veins again. Putting away my pen and notebook, I clenched my fists and pumped myself up. turning around. I spotted Sujua leaning casually against a tree. Tossed me 2 bags without a word and left. One contained a brand new outfit with tags still attached, the other held a jianbing guizi with double eggs. I went to Himayan to collect the exam papers. After some thought, I decided to just go to the internet cafe. It's the only place where I can focus on solving problems undisturbed. Sujua said that private booth was his yearly reserved spot, telling me to feel free to use it any time. I did the math on the tutoring fees he'd effectively paid me. It was substantial, so I stopped worrying about it. There was something off about Sujua tonight. The shoulder-length hair was trimmed short, the silver gray dyed back to black, clothes neatly pressed and crisp, speech now measured and deliberate. It's fine, really, just doesn't feel like him. Instead of focusing on your studies, why bother with all this? I watched as he somehow produced a pair of glasses and put them on. 11. Sujua leaned against the table, his long legs swinging carelessly. Aren't you into this type? After a brief pause, I replied, Himayan was my middle school classmate. You two are nothing alike. Seeing that look of misunderstanding forming again, I decided to lay it out plainly. At first I thought you were kinda cringy with that edgy style, but you grew on me. Not bad looking actually. Sujua said through gritted teeth with a complicated expression. Zhou zhao zhao. You really aren't afraid of me, are you? That evening I swung by home. I kept telling myself on the way, just going back to grab a few things. Don't get your hopes up. Yet reality turned out worse than my lowest expectations. The moment I stepped in, Grandma swung a slap at me. Thankfully I dodged it with ease. Do you have any idea how badly you've hurt your brother? Didn't ask where I went yesterday, didn't ask where I spent the night. I looked over and saw my brother sprawled on the couch, cursing while playing video games, too scared to confront me, so they're deliberately turning a blind eye. Must not have heard enough. I walked into my cubicle and started packing my things into a bag. Thankfully there wasn't much, a single large bag held everything. I opened the door and stepped out, ready to leave. Grandma finally called after me. Where do you think you're going? Since when did you start acting up? In my past life, my endless obedience was taken for granted. Now when I dare to stand up for myself, I'm accused of causing trouble. How ridiculous. I'm moving to the dorm, I said wearily. What dorm? We've got food and shelter at home. Why waste good money at school? Grandma's voice rose sharply. Right, every penny spent on me is wasted. Don't worry, you won't pay a dime for room or board. I need a quiet place to study for my college entrance exams. The moment those words left my mouth, I regretted them. Sure enough, Grandma snapped impatiently. Always studying, what's the point for a girl? Aunt Wang found a family offering a hefty bride price. You'll get engaged right after graduation. That's no way to talk, Granny. Sujua appeared at the doorway unnoticed. Who are you? Granny hunched her already slightly stooped frame, wary. I'm Zhou Zhaozhao's homeroom teacher, Sujua declared without batting an eye, but with his crisp white shirt, black trousers, and gold-rimmed glasses, he did have that refined yet unscrupulous vibe. You think Zhou's here for regular boarding? Think again, she's tutoring our students. We'll provide room and board, plus pay her a salary. She'll earn way more than any of you. That's what education does for girls, old-timer. Get it now? Granny's eyes lit up the moment she heard about the wages. She pushed me toward the door. Go on then, just remember to hand your wages to Granny later. Sujua pulled Grandma's hand away. Old lady. Pinning hopes on that grandson of yours will leave you starving someday. This girl here's the real golden goose you should be clinging to. I shot him a glare. On our way back to the internet cafe, Sujua swung my bag back and forth like a pendulum. Don't swing it so hard. Dad's old gift mug is in there, I warned. In this house. Perhaps he was the only one who ever showed me a little love. That mug was the reward he proudly gave me when I ranked first in my junior high school year. Finally talking to me, Sujua tilted his head. I wasn't wrong earlier. You're the real MVP here. I may be the MVP, but not just anyone gets to ride my coattails. I took a deep breath. They're not worthy. Sujua took 2 quick steps forward, turned around and blocked my path with a mischievous smirk. Then am I worthy? Can I hug you? I stumbled on flat ground, changing the subject. Since I'm taking your tuition fees, I'll have to be as strict with you as I am with my students. Sujua scoffed. Bring it on, I'm not scared of you. Arrived at the internet cafe, the place looked completely different. The gaudy cabinets that used to line the wall behind the chairs had all been removed, replaced with a bed, just a tiny bed. I looked up at the culprit with unspoken exasperation. Oblivious, he retorted. What? You're homeless, aren't you? Surely you can't keep sleeping on chairs for 6 months straight. His lips curled into a smirk. Or, you could crash at my place. Works for me. My 3 000 SQFT apartments emptier than a ghost town. Honestly, the only functional thing left there is the bed. A violent coughing fit seized me. Back then in my past life, I was still naive about many things, but now, my face burned with scorching heat. Suzhua clutched his stomach laughing. Zhou zhao zhao. Second time's the charm. Finally it's your turn to be at my mercy. Ha ha ha. Relax, I won't mess with you. Just want to give you a comfier study environment. You need proper rest to tutor me well. Right, makes sense. That evening, after assigning Suzhua's homework, I started working on the test papers Mayan brought me. The more I do it, the more excited I get. I discovered many unfamiliar question types and learned problem-solving approaches from the answer key that our teacher never covered. 12. I finally understand my true capabilities and have identified the direction for my next steps. Suzhua sat nearby chewing gum, mindlessly memorizing vocabulary with massive dark circles under his eyes. It's 2 a.m., Mr. Zhou. Can I turn off the lights and go to bed? Memorize 2 more pages first. The next morning, right after self-study period, a crowd suddenly came pouring in through the back door. The already rowdy classroom grew even noisier as everyone turned to look with curiosity. I took off my earplugs and turned around to see Suzhua standing at the front. They pushed desks and carried chairs, casually arranging them at the back of our classroom. In a flurry, a dozen people formed 2 new rows. What are you guys up to? I walked over. Didn't you tell me to study hard? Well, here I am, not just studying myself, but getting all my buddies to join in, right? He tilted his chin up, looking around smugly. The little string lights responded lethargically, yay. Stop fooling around, Suzhua, we're having a proper class here. My temples were throbbing. Who's fooling around? We're serious about studying too. We even have a study group name. Suzhua's lips curled into a smirk. The lanky kid chimed in, yeah, our boss renamed our old Blazing Gang to Blazing Study Group. Pretty cool, huh? That's when I realized the pride on Suzhua's face was genuine. I might have overestimated his IQ. Zhou zhao zhao. I hereby appoint you as the second in command of our Blazing Flame Study Group. Who wants to be second fiddle? My face turned ashen. Fine then, you'll be the leader. I'll be the leader too. We'll be equals. Green Bamboo chimed in. Absolutely, the boss and his lady should be equals. Who's his lady? I shot them a glare and stormed off in a huff. Getting beaten by those vicious ghosts wasn't even this painful. Soon enough, I realized there was actually an advantage to Suzhua and the others sitting in the back. Suzhua handed out test papers to the little troublemakers, forbidding bathroom breaks until they finished writing. The former delinquents now squirmed in their seats, scratching their heads in frustration, too intimidated to even complain. Even the usually chatty and rowdy students at the front of our class became as quiet as church mice. The learning environment improved instantly. Even homeroom teacher Lao Yang froze momentarily upon entering, double-checking the classroom number before stepping onto the podium. Students in the last 2 rows, are you in the wrong seats? Lao Yang wiped sweat from his forehead. After all, many students at 10th High were beyond teacher's authority to discipline. Suzhua leaned back in his chair, crossing his legs. Mr. Yang, we're here to learn. Your elite class wouldn't look down on underachievers like us, would you? Old Yang gulped. Of course not, actually, our 10th High's elite class is nothing special at all. They're all equally terrible. He chuckled. That's the spirit, that's the spirit. The teachers really appreciate students who want to learn. For the first time, when the teacher was explaining problems at the podium, students were actually paying attention, with some even raising their hands to ask questions. The man, well over 50, had tears welling up in his eyes. Brilliant, that's an excellent question. After class, old Yang called me into his office. He told me Zhang Ting got disciplinary notice. Her friends initially refused to visit the infirmary, but the examination later confirmed. Old Yang sighed. Things haven't been peaceful at our school lately. Jiang Yu got beaten up too, broken arm and leg. He'll be hospitalized for at least 2 months. Zhou zhao zhao. I can't offer you much help as a teacher. You're a smart kid, just focus on protecting yourself. In my past life, I actually held some resentment toward my high school teachers. I always wondered why they never stood up to do something about all those school bullying incidents. It dawned on me later that teachers are human too. If they can't even steer their own lives, how could they possibly protect those more vulnerable? Meeting old Yang's weary eyes, I nodded. Teacher, you never imagined your dream of educating young minds would end up in a place like this, did you? 13, old Yang froze at my question. Removing his vintage black-framed glasses to wipe them with his shirt hem. Who hasn't complained pointlessly when they were young? Teacher, I really think our class could be the best you've ever taught. Do you believe that? I asked earnestly. Old Yang's eyes grew moist. I do. I can tell this class is different. You're all going to do great things. The advanced class at 10th High truly was different, at first. Sujua would glare at the little sparklers with a dark expression while watching them solve problems. When the sparklers couldn't figure it out, they'd sneak to the front to ask for help. These honor students didn't carry the typical good kid pretensions. They were simply terrified of getting beaten up by the school bullies. Those who understood would meticulously outline each step, starting with solution. If I didn't understand something, I'd figure it out myself and then explain it to the little sparklers. Eventually, studying became second nature. In just a few weeks, the atmosphere became electric. During Monday's morning study session, Old Yang walked in with the monthly exam papers. Class, the moment to test what we've learned is here. Is everyone ready? A few scattered voices replied, ready. The string lights gave no response. The string lights were itching to bolt. Sujua shot them a warning glare. Focus on your test. No cheating. If I catch anyone with cheat sheets, you're running 10 laps around the field. The students groaned in misery. Everyone took the first monthly exam of senior year's second semester dead seriously. Holy crap, I actually know how to solve this problem. Someone muttered under their breath. What's all the fuss? I can solve over half of this test paper. Someone thought gleefully. I've clearly noticed my own improvement. My problem-solving approaches have become more flexible, and I can even spot answers to complex questions at a glance now. I can finish all the questions in just 2/3 of the time it used to take me. The teacher made the exam too easy to preserve most students' confidence. On results day, Old Yang specially got a big red poster and hand-copied every classmate's score onto it, including those bonus points forcibly squeezed into the last 2 rows. Of course, ironically, they were the most excited ones. Our whole class was staring at the grades in a daze. Some were rubbing their eyes furiously, others scrubbing at their names, all in utter disbelief. Unbelievable. The little colored lights were all bouncing around excitedly. Boss, have you ever seen this? A score starting with 3. Did I really pull this off? I must be a genius, boss. I went from dead last to 100th from the bottom. Wait, no, 400th from the top. I'm freaking amazing. Sujua grew increasingly irritated by their racket. All of you, get the hell out. Come back when you're done laughing. He sidled up next to me in a flash, smugly pointing at his name near the top of the list. Just a tiny bit behind you, that's all. 580 versus 680, just a slight difference indeed. His face was practically glowing with expectation for praise. His tail, if he had one, would have been wagging nonstop. I chuckled inwardly. Since when did school bullies act like this? Well done, Sue. That's all thanks to Teacher Zhou's guidance. I smiled, but secretly clenched my fists. 680 isn't enough. I need a perfect score on this exam. Only then might I barely reach the Tsinghua Beta threshold. I asked Mayan to tutor me at the internet cafe. After going through all the materials he gave me, I've absorbed most of the key points, but when it comes to more advanced or in-depth topics, it's genuinely hard to figure them out without proper guidance. Mayan stood at the private room entrance, carrying his completely empty backpack. Wow, our secret hideout is pretty awesome, Sujua corrected coldly. It's my secret hideout with Zhou Zhaozhao. Despite his utter dislike for Mayan, Sujua still pulled up a chair for him. Listen up, if Zhou Zhaozhao fails to get into Tsinghua or Peking University, you're eating that gaming chair. Sujua deadpanned, sure thing. And if she makes it, you'll be the one chewing on it. Mayan delivered his retort with an infuriating smile. 14, bring it on. Who's afraid of who? The two reached an agreement. Standing by, I pondered whether to go through with it and who'd be the most suitable candidate. Following Mayan's advice, I requested extended leave from my homeroom teacher and spent all my time studying at internet cafes. After all, there's only so much I can still learn at school. Mayan stopped carrying that empty backpack to school every day too. Just tutored me at internet cafes instead. Sujua would actually do better following the advanced classes pace. The difficulty level suits him perfectly, but he stubbornly refuses. I'm staying right here to watch you, he shouted. I couldn't help but frown. I mean, I'll just observe your tutoring session. Aren't you supposed to be earning your teaching fee by coaching me? His voice grew much quieter. Fair point. But I found that studying with Sujua doubles the effectiveness. He wouldn't listen when Mayan explained it, insisting I go over it with him again. When I re-explain problems in my own words, it helps me organize my thoughts better and identify gaps in my understanding. What's more, Sujua is actually quite brilliant. Some of his questions give me real breakthroughs. Those little troublemakers remained in the back rows of the honors class. with Sujua assigning their daily homework and keeping tabs on their studies. Thus, every evening the internet cafe would witness quite the spectacle. A line of nervous students clutching workbooks or test papers would queue outside the private booths, awaiting homework inspection. Some got tossed out, students and assignments alike. Ugh, the boss made me redo everything. No sleep tonight. But hey, the boss actually praised me. Said I could at least get into a third-tier college. Do you have to rub it in? Even the boss's wife complimented me. He. I saw Jiangyu again right before the mock college entrance exams. For this test, our homeroom teacher Old Yang went all out. He convinced the principal to join a joint exam with 10 elite schools. Our school used to do joint exams too, but only with mediocre schools like No. 13 High, which we jokingly called the Trash League exams. This time, all schools were included except for the prestigious ones like No. 1 High, Affiliated High, and No. 2 High. The principal was hesitant at first, worried our results might be embarrassingly poor. Old Yang guaranteed confidently, "Don't worry, we'll secure at least one spot in the top 10. And just like that, the pressure landed squarely on me. "It's alright, Zhao Zhao. I believe in you." Old Yang's eyes sparkled with youthful energy, as if he'd shed 5 years, brimming with determination. "Got it, teacher. I believe in myself too." It really was time to find my place on a bigger stage. Stepping out of the office, I ran into Jiangyu. He was still wearing braces on his arms and legs, not fully recovered yet. Zhao, you seem different from before," Jiangyu remarked. I suddenly became aware of the overly bright smile plastered across my face, especially when facing Jiangyu's gloomy expression. "You're finally back at school. How's your health?" "I've been so worried about you," I said, putting on my most devoted girlfriend act. He scoffed. "Do you really care? You never once visited me during my surgery or hospital stay. In my past life, I would have rushed to the hospital to take care of him if anything happened, but now, even exchanging these few words with him feels like a waste of time. I was afraid your parents might suspect we're dating too young, and that wouldn't reflect well on you," I said with feigned melancholy before quickly adding, "but it's all right now. You're back. Tomorrow's the mock exam, our 10-school joint test. You've got this." Sure enough, Jiangyu's face darkened further. 15, I knew him far too well. The same words of encouragement meant support and trust when said to others, but for someone like Jiangyu, the more encouragement he gets, the greater the psychological pressure becomes. It only makes him feel like people are waiting to see him fail. "What's the big deal about the 10-school joint exam?" He feigned indifference. "A person's true ability isn't determined by a single test, of course not, but if someone consistently performs poorly, doesn't that suggest they're just worthless?" I said coolly. "What are you implying?" Jiangyu's voice rose, his telltale sign of anger. I shrugged innocently. "No hidden meaning here. I genuinely believe you'll ace the exam. Your score will easily clear the 211 university threshold. Go get M." Watching the vein bulge at Jiangyu's temple, I barely suppressed my laughter. On our way back to the internet cafe, Sujua was visibly sulking. "Some people just need a good beating. Why waste words on them? If all else fails, after the college entrance exams, I'll just steal his phone and alter his application choices." "No way," I scoffed. "We're law-abiding citizens. We don't do illegal things like that. Besides, the real art of revenge lies in crushing someone's spirit," I added with a dark chuckle. As I finished speaking, I suddenly noticed Sujua had stopped walking moments earlier. My heart skipped a beat. During those 3 months as a wandering spirit, I tasted all the bitterness of life and witnessed too many unspeakable dark thoughts. Though we both got a second chance, perhaps Sujua would find my current mindset still too shadowed by darkness. I stepped back and explained hesitantly, "Don't worry. I won't do anything too extreme to him." Sujua's eyes glazed over as he shook his head. Zhao, did you just say we to me? Why did I overthink things just now?" Right after the mock exams ended, some students rushed to Old Yang to ask about their scores. Old Yang never got annoyed by their constant inquiries. Instead, he chuckled warmly. "It's good to see the kids taking their studies seriously. The joint exams from 10 schools will take days to grade, so just relax and focus on preparing for the monthly test, everyone." Amidst the general anticipation, Jiangyu grew increasingly uneasy. He'd missed the last monthly exam but later completed the test papers on his own. To his dismay, his scores were even lower than those of a few mediocre students. He was genuinely panicking. Leaning on his crutch, he asked me, Zhao, if I take a gap year, would you wait for me?" The 10-school joint exam became the final blow that shattered him. After the exam results were released, Old Yang painstakingly copied our class scores by hand onto a large red poster, character by character. No one would have guessed this rough-looking man could write such elegant regular script, one column for grades, one for school ranking, and one for the 10 school ranking. Many classmates were moved to tears. Out of 10 schools and over 10,000 students, ranking around 5,000 is no small feat. I was literally at the bottom in my high school entrance exams. Oh my god. Just 2 months of casual studying and I've improved this much. I should have started way earlier. Hey guys, I made it to the top 1000. How good is that? Does this guarantee me a first-tier university spot? Green Bamboo Pole was absolutely heartbroken. Boss lady, you wouldn't believe it. When our gang first transitioned into a study group, those 13th high kids mocked us, saying we couldn't cut it anymore. 16. At first, we all felt too ashamed to even look our boss in the eye. But look at me now, scoring over 400 points, screw slacking off. I'm hitting the books and getting into college. I grabbed a tissue and dabbed at his snot bubble. What's there to be ashamed of? Hitting the books beats throwing punches any day. Outscore those hoodlums from 13th high, and you'll outshine them in life. Their thug phase won't last, but what you learn stays with you forever. Let's see who comes out on top in a few years. Green Bamboo nodded emphatically. Damn right it'll be us. The fairy lights chimed in excitedly. Victory's gotta be ours. The energy in the room instantly became electric. Even the students in the front row of our class joined the chant. Victory has to be ours. Sujwa seized the chaos to grab my wrist, giving it a shake. Mr. Zhou, did you see my ranking? I saw it. Of course I saw it. I was first on the scoreboard, with Sujwa right behind me in second place. In the inter-school ranking, I came in second while he placed 10th. Old Yang's bold promise of securing a spot in the top 10 not only came true, but brought an unexpected bonus. Maybe it was the emotional build-up, or perhaps memories of that grueling month pulling all-nighters studying in internet cafes. My eyes grew misty, on the verge of tears. In my past life, my greatest dream was simply getting into any 985 university, just to escape City A, to leave that house behind. Bigger dreams, I never dared to dream them. Nor knew how to. All I ever saw was that small circle of sky above the well, but now, as I slowly climb out of that well, my vision expands, and I realize the sky is boundless. I can fly, I can soar freely, top of the school. No, next I'll dominate all 10 schools, then I'll reclaim my rightful place across the entire city. Finally, with devout determination, I set my remaining half-step into the hallowed grounds of Tsinghua and Peking University. At this moment, my heart surges like tidal waves, not just from the radiant future and lofty ambitions, but from the unshakable certainty of attainment. In my past life, I was always utterly alone, shuttling between school and home like a solitary pendulum on its fixed path. In this life, I've rediscovered my greatest mentor Himayan and found my perfect companion Sujwa. In perfect sync, we stride steadily toward the future. I looked up at Sujwa and declared, Mr. Su, I hereby pronounce you the finest student I've ever taught. He glanced down, his smile faltering momentarily as his extended finger hovered, then withdrew, scooted closer and whispered, you can wipe your snot on my shoulder. I'll pretend I didn't see those snot bubbles. Got pummeled by me in response. I wasn't snotty at all, you clueless jerk. Honestly, I just shed a couple of elegant tears, that's all. Rubbed hard against Sujwa's brand new white tee. Zhou Zhao Zhao. What the hell are you doing? I looked up to meet Jiang Yu's stormy expression. Jiang Yu's exam results turned out even worse than he'd anticipated, just as I expected. While he was away for those 2 months, all his classmates made progress to varying degrees, while he remained stagnant. You either move forward or fall behind, and I messed with his head right before the exam. His ranking was nearly at the bottom. At my silent signal, Sujwa let Jiang Yu pull me to the corner of the classroom. Have you fallen for that delinquent? Why, there were plenty of reasons, but I only intended to tell him. 17, Resource Group Pushpin Contact, QQ 17*973283031, no way, of course I still like you, but Sujwa, he gets straight A's. Jiang Yu's expression shattered, just because he aces exams and I don't. I lowered my head in silent acknowledgement. Jiang Yu took a deep breath. Zhou Zhao Zhao, grades don't define everything, and have you forgotten how I stood up for you before? When those bullies targeted you, I was the one who made it stop, don't you remember? Of course I remember. Last time, you deceived me just like this, leaving me utterly devastated. I looked up with reluctant hesitation written all over my face. Jiang Yu, I'll always be grateful to you, but I've come to realize that academic excellence is far more attractive. Jiang Yu stood dumbfounded, staggering back until he barely steadied himself against the wall. The person who was completely under his thumb, once utterly devoted and obedient to him, now suddenly looks down on him, all because of poor exam results. Sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? But Jiang Yu would take it to heart, for exams are his deepest insecurity. The academic pedestal he's scheming to drag me down from is the outstanding achievement he desperately craves but can never attain. Su Zhua finally lost patience and sauntered over. Zhou Zhao Zhao, why waste your breath on this underachiever? Jiang Yu's eyes burned with fury. Who are you calling an underachiever? Just wait, Zhou Zhao Zhao. I'll prove myself with top marks. Sure, I'll be waiting, I replied with a sweet smile. I can't wait to see how you'll keep failing harder with each exam. We only came back to school today because we had to check our grades, Su Zhua and I, after evening classes. We packed up our things and headed back to the internet cafe. At the doorway, Zhang Ting stopped us, nervously twisting her fingers as she asked timidly, Zhou Zhao Zhao, could I join your Blazing Flame study group too? To be honest, Su Zhua runs this study group with serious dedication, though he grumbles while assigning and checking homework for his little fireflies. His tailored teaching methods have skyrocketed their grades. Everyone's witnessed their remarkable progress. Top students from honors classes were practically drooling with envy, begging to join the study group. Su Zhua turned a blind eye and casually carried them along to success, but this time, the one wanting to join was Zhang Ting. I'm sorry for the things I said about you before, but, Zhang Ting clenched her fingers until they turned white, but I didn't mean it, I won't do it again, Zhou Zhao Zhao. I really want to improve my grades and get into a better school. Oh, I nodded with a smile. Do you think I should agree? You think you just carelessly said a few harsh words to me back then? Fine, now I'm just carelessly turning you down. You think it's unfair, don't you? Because my refusal might cost you admission to a better school, the stakes are too high. Well, let me tell you, your careless insults changed the course of my life too. I patted her shoulder. Zhang Ting, I'm Zhou Zhao Zhao, no saint who can return good for evil. I know, Su Zhua told his crew, no teaching you, no letting you tag along secretly to learn. Let me make this crystal clear today. Joining our study group, not a chance. You won't lay eyes on a single page of our materials. Watching Zhang Ting's face pale instantly, I felt nothing, not even satisfaction. People like her, they've already faded from my view. Monthly exams are coming one after another. 18, this time. Old Yang was unusually motivated and secretly asked us, class, how about we try out No. 1 High School's mock exam papers? Old Yang's former classmate teaches at No. 1 High School. He gifted them a bottle of mitai and finally managed to get a set of mock exam papers. The moment people heard it was No. 1 High School, their first reaction was immediate intimidation. It's alright, don't sell yourself short, give it a try and see where you stand in the city's top school. Nobody used to buy into Old Yang's motivational pep talks. But somehow this time it actually fired everyone up. So for this monthly exam, our class got separate test papers and our own ranking system. Someone burst into tears right after the exam. Tough, really tough. Green Bamboo came running over in tears. Boss lady, I thought I'd improved, but turns out I don't even measure up when put with the real top students. Su Zhua rarely showed patience as he ruffled the boy's green hair. Top students go to Tsinghua or Peking University. But there are plenty of decent colleges left for you. Besides, you might surprise us all when the results come out. Who says you can't outperform those elite school kids? Just as expected, though everyone felt crushed right after the exam, their confidence skyrocketed when the results came out, because Old Yang not only got hold of the test papers but also the grade distribution rankings from No. 1 High School. Comparing the data, they realized their scores would actually rank near the top even at the elite school. That dream school which always seemed out of reach suddenly felt within their grasp. Both Su Zhua and I were quite familiar with the exam papers from No. 1 High School. Our scores consistently ranked first and second. This test was practically at the same level as the National College Entrance Exam. I scored 679, while Su Zhua got 623. That dream school that once felt out of reach is actually getting closer. Ever seen the scene where students cheer with every torn page of the Gaokao countdown calendar? Right before the second mock exam, I returned to school and witnessed exactly that spectacle. Downright spine-chilling. Everyone was rolling up their sleeves, eager for the upcoming citywide standardized exam. Some classmates spotted Su Zhua and me returning, rushing over with test papers to ask questions. Except for Zhang Ting and her clique who bullied me relentlessly. Most classmates had joined our study group. When evening self-study ended, they'd swarm into the internet cafe in droves, waiting for review sessions and QA, novel collection pushpin WeChat. QQ1797328031, Sujua finally lost patience. Take a number, and try helping each other out, will you? I need time to study too. Mayan crossed his legs and said with a grin. Our Su here's doing great now, even his students can teach others. Sujua nearly snapped his pen in half. Exclusive contact pushpin WeChat. QQ*179*7328031, who gave you the right to call me classmate? Only Zhou Xiaoxiao gets to be my teacher. Got it, but I'm Zhou Xiaoxiao's teacher. Mayan taunted. You're just jealous, aren't you? They almost came to blows. Fight all you want, just don't mess up the mock exams. I tried mediating, feeling utterly drained. The mock exam results were posted. The same red paper notices, the same delicate calligraphy. Sujua was slapping his thigh in excitement. Zhou Xiaoxiao, did you see this? Your results? Oh my god, yeah, I'm shocked too. Ranked third in the entire city. Though I've been working hard to reclaim my former standing, I never expected it to happen this fast, or this perfectly. I ranked third citywide in the high school entrance exam. Teachers said I was practically guaranteed admission to Tsinghua or Peking University. From my past life to this one, after wandering through countless detours, I've finally returned to where I was always meant to be. It's been so hard. Unbearably hard. No one could possibly understand the anguish I've carried all these years, but it's unnecessary now. These results speak for themselves. May I lean on your shoulder once more? I asked Sujua, tilting my head up. 19, bathed in the morning light, his smile outshone the sun. Of course, the honor is mine. Tears streamed down my face. Sujua's grades were excellent too, ranking in the top 100 citywide. I scolded him angrily. With your brains, if you'd buckled down earlier, you could have easily gotten into Tsinghua or Peking University. He waved it off casually. I don't need Tsinghua or Peking. Getting into any Beijing university with you is good enough. I wish I'd realized this sooner too, but I just wasn't mature enough back then. It took me 3 months by the lake to realize there's nothing embarrassing about hanging out with top students. Truth is, I'd already fallen for your relentless determination. I just hadn't noticed. I'm absolutely speechless about the school bully's twisted logic in his past life. As expected, Jiangyu bombed the exam spectacularly. Completely defeated, he asked if I'd drop out with him. I can't even bother pretending anymore, because he's already a lost cause. Why should I? Why should I throw away my bright future just to sync with you? Jiangyu raised his voice. Zhou Xiaoxiao, is your future more important than me? Of course, who do you think you are? I found it utterly ridiculous, and I suggest you don't take a leave from school, because your grades will only get worse. When you come back, you might not even make it into a vocational college. Those words turned out to be prophetic. Jiangyu barely scraped by the second-tier college cutoff in his previous life, but this time around, his performance was an absolute disaster, ended up with no college to attend. Sujua and I kept grinding through hell mode after the second mock exam until the third, when we adjusted our pace and consolidated key concepts. The night before the Gaokao, Sujua whispered to comfort me, don't stress too much. What if the questions are the same as back then? This is the issue we've discussed before, whether this year's college entrance exam papers will be identical to those from our previous life. Living this second life, I've realized how much has changed. Like a butterfly's wings, the slightest alteration triggers massive ripple effects. That's why I can't take chances. Sujua and I must push through this hellish, round-the-clock study marathon. Even if the exam content changes, we'll still achieve the scores we deserve. Mayan noticed us whispering and cut in disapprovingly. What's this secret conversation? Students, care to share with your teacher? Claim benefits pushpin WeChat. QQ no 17973288031. Sujua snorted triumphantly. That's between me and Zhou Xiaoxiao. Mayan scoffed and went back to double-checking the things we needed to bring tomorrow. I looked at Sujua with amusement. After the exams, you'll have to tell me your secret too. I've always had some theories about reincarnation. Examination hall. Seeing the exam paper was indeed different from my past life, and to my surprise, I felt even more exhilarated in that moment. All my efforts were about to be put to the test in this exam, unlike my previous life, where I frantically rushed through the papers in a sweaty panic. This time, I was remarkably composed. It felt like I could clearly see the logic and answers behind every question. All I had to do was calmly transcribe them onto the exam paper. The final bell rang as I handed in my last exam sheet. My heart was at peace, brimming with quiet satisfaction. Outside the exam hall, Sujua leaned against the wall gasping, drenched in sweat. Standing leisurely in the shade, Mayan watched with amusement. With the exam site being so far away, I doubt Sue even finished his paper when he rushed over. The fact that Mayan could snitch on me while smiling like that was downright unbelievable. Bullshit. I finished the damn thing and double-checked before handing it in. I ran all the way here. 20. Sujwa grabbed a bottle of mineral water, poured it over his head, shook it off like a wet dog, and asked with sparkling eyes, "How'd it go? How was the exam?" The questions were super easy this time. "Why'd it take you so long to finish?" It really was easy. I finished way earlier, but I wanted to stay longer. This second shot at the college entrance exam didn't come easy, and I treasure every moment. The phone rang at 3 a.m. Half asleep, I saw Sujwa spring up from his makeshift bed on the floor. During these months of brutal study sessions, we solved problems, discussed solutions, and repeated the cycle around the clock. When exhaustion hit, I took the narrow bed while Sujwa and Mayan crashed on floor mats. After the exams, Mayan complained his back was killing him and went home to sleep for days. Zhou Zhao Zhao, quick. Qinghua's admissions office is calling. Sujwa shook me awake. Post Gaokao, I completely checked out and just wanted to crash. Only Sujwa kept researching Peking Tsinghua admissions online, memorizing both universities' admission hotlines by heart. I answered the phone with sleep still thick in my voice, only to learn they'd already checked my scores and were recommending Tsinghua, second in the entire city. Not bad at all. I'll give it serious thought. Thank you. Hanging up, I met Sujwa's intensely curious gaze. "You don't want to go to Tsinghua? Does that mean you won't be with Mayan?" Before his face darkened completely, I explained, "I choose my university for no one but myself. I want to live my own life, one that isn't shaped by others. And Sujwa, I hope you'll choose the school you truly want, and live your own life too, without changing because of me." Sujwa mumbled hesitantly, "But it's only because of you that I study hard, otherwise I'd just coast through like my past self, barely scraping into some second-tier college and drifting through each day in a daze. My parents have their own families now and can't be bothered with me. The more money they throw at me, the more absurd it feels, like cash is all a person needs to exist in this world." It was seeing you, tenacious as weeds pushing through cracked earth, that made me start thinking life might hold something worth living for. Sujwa looked as dejected as a drenched stray dog. I ruffled his unkempt hair. "Then go find your own joy in life. You'll discover there's plenty to be had. Don't be afraid, Sujwa. You don't need to follow me, because I'll always be here. Stand firm in your life choices, growing upward like a mighty tree, unshaken by others' opinions." Then, branches intertwined midair, bathed in shared sunlight and weathering the same storms. I shook my head. Ultimately, I chose Peking University for its stronger program fit. Resource group Pushpin WeChat, QQ number 1797328031. Mayan lamented in anguish. "Why, is Tsinghua not prestigious enough for you?" Sujwa gloated with a smug hum. "Isn't it obvious? It's for my sake, so I won't have to constantly watch my back around you." Just as I was about to declare my neutrality, Sujwa gave me a playful nudge with her foot. She whispered coyly, "Just humor me this once, won't you?" "Fine, let's save him some face." Mayan was utterly dejected. "Still can't be classmates. Huh, didn't work out in high school, and now not even in college. Ugh." Sujwa crossed her arms. "What, is being Zhou Zhao's classmate all you care about?" Mayan took a frustrated sip of bubble tea. "I gave up on that ages ago, with you guarding her like a rabid dog over food. Who'd dare make a move?" "Oh, so you actually considered robbing me?" Sujwa's eyes narrowed into slits again. "Remember our deal? After I tutor Zhou Zhao into Tsinghua or Peking University, you're eating that gaming chair." Mayan perked up with a gentle smile, patting the chair beneath him. 21. Bon appetit. My heart skipped a beat. He actually remembered. To my surprise, Sujwa didn't even flinch, pulled out the phone and opened an app. "Relax, I've already ordered a gaming chair-shaped cake. It'll arrive today." When we said eat the gaming chair, we didn't mean literally, right? That's some next-level trolling right there. Mayan choked back laughter for a long moment before finally grinning. "All right then, let's consider this a celebration for the three of us. Here's to our bright future." Mayan got into Tsinghua. I made it to Peking University, while Sujwa landed at his dream top 5 school. We should definitely celebrate this hard-won bright future. Only after my relentless questioning did Sujwa come clean about why we were given this second chance at life. Thankfully, it wasn't some sinister deal like I'd feared. After sitting by the lake for 3 months, he chanced upon rumors of a temple where the enshrined deity was said to work miracles. The man who'd never believed in gods journeyed thousands of miles there, climbing the mountain step by step before kneeling on the prayer cushion for 3 days, whispering just one plea: "Someone so good deserves better." give her another chance, on the mountain descent. A sudden downpour triggered a mudslide that swept him away. When his eyes reopened, he found himself back in senior year of high school. Then, he spotted me standing at the internet cafe's counter. The gods work in mysterious ways. Buy one get one free, they gave you a second chance. And me a fresh start, Sujwa murmured devoutly, palms pressed together. I silently whispered thank you a few times, grateful for this chance to make up for the regrets and missed opportunities from my past life. A few days later, old Yang called to say Grandma came looking for me at school. It's been too long since I've been home, yet I don't miss it at all. Still went to the school to bring Grandma back home. Zhao, is it true they say you got into Peking University? She beamed with a wide smile. They say if you get into Peking University, there's a lot of scholarship money to be had. Is that true? To stay connected, quickly add pushpin WeChat. QQ number 17 *97 *3280 *31. How much could that possibly be? Granny's wrinkles instantly blossomed into a smile. After some thought, I replied, probably around a couple $100,000, just as I expected. Before the bonus even hit our account, Granny and my little brother had already gone on a wild shopping spree. When cash was tight, they'd just activate online loan overdrafts. My brother was quite sharp when it came to that. By the time they found me again, the two of them were already over 100 grand in debt. Hey Zhao, has the bonus come through? We're 2 months behind on bills. Can we pay up this month? There actually came a day when Grandma spoke to me softly, propping my chin in hand. I asked curiously, why should I use my own bonus to pay off your debts? Grandma said matter-of-factly, of course your money should go toward our debts. If you don't pay, the debt collectors will come knocking. I scratched my ear. But I'm not even part of your Zhou family. Why should I care if you live or die? Grandma paused. What do you mean? You are one of our Zhous. I really do. A worthless burden, right? I said with a smile. I really do. Since you've always treated me as dead weight, how could I possibly disappoint you? Don't worry. From now on you won't profit a single cent from me. Despite her fear of Sujwa sitting beside me, Grandma still jumped up in agitation. That shriveled, scrawny body could unleash such a piercing shriek. You ungrateful little brat. Got into Peking University and think you're too good for us now. Just wait, I'll expose you online. The whole world will know what a disgraceful daughter you are. My brother chimed in, yeah, we'll post about you everywhere. Let everyone see what you've done. I was absolutely terrified. Quickly grabbed paper and pen, list out all the major platforms one by one, and hand it to him. Don't forget to post everywhere, Jihu included. It's a solid platform. I'd love nothing more than for this to go viral. Then I can finally air every single thing you've done to me over the years. Netizens see everything. Once this blows up, consider us done. You won't squeeze another cent out of me. 22. My brother was about to argue stubbornly, but Grandma pulled him down to sit. Indeed, as a beneficiary of privilege, he remained oblivious to the favoritism he'd received. And Grandma, she too had endured similar deprivation and oppression growing up. Now employing those same tactics against me, she knew exactly what she was doing. Let's lay it all out. For over a decade in this household, I've faced nothing but injustice at every turn. Listen now, your father never treated you poorly, did he? Now that he's gone, shouldn't you take care of us in his place? Grandma switched back to her honeyed tones. How cunning, she knows exactly where to hit me. In the previous life, the one without Sujwa and Himayan. My father remains my most treasured memory, the last tender spot in my heart. Grandma noticed the shift in my expression, and her scheming mind stirred again. Zhao, your brother and I won't squander money anymore. Just cover our debts for now. That loan company your brother found is terrifying. They threaten to send thugs to our door if we don't repay the money. Obviously, these shady lenders that casually hand out six-figure loans specialize in these kinds of intimidation tactics. But then again, what's that got to do with me? How about we write an IOU? That should work, right? Grandma refused to give up. I sighed. Fine, go ahead and write that IOU then. Grandma cheerfully got up to leave when I stopped her. But not to me. Go borrow from relatives, friends, or neighbors. Pay back the loan company when you've scraped together enough. We both know that once you owe me, you'll never pay it back, in the end. I saved Grandma's bank account details and promised to transfer small amounts regularly. I planned to send her that 100,000 yuan over 10 years. After all, she's been carefully managing every penny to take care of me since Dad passed away. Don't lose or change that card, or the money won't go through, I reminded before leaving. Granny hissed through clenched teeth. How cruel, you heartless wretch. Gazing at this place I'd lived in for over a decade yet still felt alien. I chuckled dryly. I suppose I should thank you for raising me to be so well-behaved. I changed all my contact details to ensure neither my grandmother nor brother could ever find me again, finally breaking free from the family nightmare. The place that should have been my sanctuary gave me life but denied me basic dignity, a cruelty that cuts deeper than anything. If that's how it is, I'll walk away with my head held high. September arrived with the first whispers of autumn wind. The sun still blazing fiercely, stepping through Peking University's gates. After a brief daze, I did what I always do first, inquire about student loans. Sujua dragged the luggage while grumbling, "What's the big deal? I could have just paid this measly tuition for you, junior year." I foolishly believed my boyfriend's sweet talk about marrying our first love, and gave him everything precious I had. Jinyu, how is this a debt between us? Who keeps score? He stopped dead in his tracks, fuming. I had no choice. I stepped back and poked his cheek. Between us, it's always been you and me. He turned his face away, avoiding my touch. Sujua, I want to love you freely and as equals. Will you give me this chance? I looked up and asked earnestly. He finally turned his face toward me, his frantic gaze sweeping over me as he struggled to catch his breath. Swallowing hard, he pressed his lips together and forced out the words, "No." I was completely stunned. That was the last response I'd expected. Sujua grabbed my hand, his fingers trembling slightly. "No, I have to be the one to confess. You can't steal my moment." I was speechless yet amused. "Fine then, you do the confessing. I won't steal your thunder." "No way, that's way too casual." Sujua was practically frantic. "I plan to confess on your birthday. Everything's ready." I watched his face flicker between excitement, anxiety, and this pitiful pout. Suddenly remembering his old bad boy at school swagger, what a trip down memory lane. "Sujua, oh Sujua, did you ever imagine this day would come when you sat by the lake every day in our past life calling me a dumbass?" Alright, I won't push you, but can you give me a little treat in advance?" I asked. Under his puzzled gaze, I rose on tiptoe and leaned in. He remained frozen, instinctively bending down, and so, I pressed a gentle kiss upon his forehead. How glorious, this scorching sun. This fiery youth I'll forever cherish.